Boom, baby. We are live. Greetings, fellow supercoders, and welcome to the 101st edition of the Tokyo Crypto Show. I am Jonathan from Modern Life Dating, and I'm joined by Charlie from cultivatecrypto.com. Charlie, got some trouble here today.
Yeah. Let's we'll get around it.
Guys, today we're going to talk about this we're just going to talk about just the overall treachery of governments in general, and how this so-called infrastructure bill is being masqueraded as something good for the American public, and B, how it is a blatant attack, and quite ignorantly so, just something that's a bunch of out of touch old people are talking about something and trying to legislate about something they have no idea about. And so, yeah, I don't know. I'm at a loss for words, to be honest. I just like sitting back, watching these Senate hearings, listening to the lies and manipulations of politicians. It truly just like I'm in every sense of the word, I'm dumbfounded at the ignorance, to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, the one of the best quotes is just like,
beat me to that guy on your channel.
Yeah. Like, see ya. No, one of the best points about this whole thing is like how many people in that room can explain what Bitcoin or blockchain is. Like probably only like a handful, right?
If that.
And so instead of hearing about, okay, we have this amendment in here that we could just take out, and like we can hold a separate hearing where we can figure, people can come in there. Brian Armstrong, their friend from Coinbase, can come in there, explain what Bitcoin and a blockchain is to them in a friendly manner, and they can understand, what they're dealing with, and then they can vote properly on whether that type of law should be put into place. Instead, right, they have a 2,700 page document so that people don't read the whole thing. They slip things in where they want to. And then, to be honest, for themselves, they're just creating more work down the line because they're going to have to come back to this because they're going to get a lot of pushback. I mean, they're already getting pushback heavy from the crypto industry, but then also with a million other things they're trying to slip in, they're getting a lot of heat on that as well. But the funny thing is the media, right, in general, is mainly a propaganda type machine at this moment in time. There's so many extremes on both ends. There's no real fair talk in general about the thing. So what you're going to see is you're going to get more people kind of spurging out at people like us having a general conversation of why the government in general, both parties are effing up, right? They both are to blame, right, in different things. And then you get some people who are like, you're talking negative about this point that this other media channel told me is good, so you guys, are bad or whatever, right? It's like, no, we're living in a democracy, or at least we used to be, where we can fairly talk about, this point and that point, look at the good, the bad, and the ugly about everything, and then come to a rational conclusion about, whether something is, fair or not, or proper or not, or should become law or not. And so I think the media has done their job at basically dividing and conquering, that's for sure.
Yeah. And what we're going to talk about today on this show, so we're going to start off, we're going to talk about some good news. Bitcoin is on an absolute tear. Ethereum is on an absolute tear. Hell, even Uniswap is just ripping right now. So these are good news indicators, and I find it no coincidence that as soon as Bitcoin is doing pretty good for itself, we're starting to see a little political pushback. This goes deep, and just remember, the only government party we support here is the government of the Moon Gang. Okay, like we don't care. Charlie is high chancellor of the Moon Gang, and we all worship him. Tokyo Crypto Show, my channel, we're all politically neutral. So or we totally support the Democratic Party. So don't ban us, YouTube. Just whatever you want us to say. We are your slaves. But we're going to present some information that we just found today on YouTube itself. This is on YouTube, hosted on YouTube, and supported by YouTube. So we're not trying to take any political stances other than just leave us alone. Like that's pretty much my political stance. I don't even want to talk about politics. I want to talk about numbers going up, and the true freedom, the real freedom that cryptocurrency can give you. And so, just for the record, this is not financial advice. We do not have any political affiliations. We are not supported by anybody. So we're going to talk about that today because we have a lot of different news sources that we're going to cite.
And we actually watched the actual video of them debating the bill in the Senate. Like, we literally can just go to the source and see that too. Like, we got a bunch of different stuff that I think is really, really valuable and useful.
Yeah, so we have a variety of news sources we'll be playing today, and so again, like we say, we are not politically associated with anything. It's if I may just speak freely for one moment. I know it's like
that's no longer allowed on YouTube. Sorry,
no longer on YouTube. We had to take the U out of YouTube.
Yep.
So, in regards to what I'm about to say, there is a blockchain solution coming to censorship-free social media. It's without a shadow of a doubt. This is absolutely coming, and the tech oligarchs, they're just thinking very short-sightedly. Not that they care, not at all, but we're going to talk about that today. We already got a super chat coming in. Thank you to King Eric the Plumber. $4.99 super chat says, "Good morning, guys. I'm about to go all in on Ethereum, but don't know how, other than Lido. But I'm in North Carolina, USA, and through an iPhone."
He's going through like some really random channels. Like, does he not? I guess the question would be: is he trying to get in through fiat or crypto?
I think the first thing he needs to do is go to cryptomindsetcourse.com and definitely get on the waiting list for your course.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say because I love this guy. He asks he's been consistently asking great questions. But
Lido is a good project in the crypto space. So I'm assuming he's trying to get in through other crypto. But like if you're able to use Lido, you should be able to use. Like, you should be able to figure out how to get to Ethereum. But yeah, if you can't, just definitely crypto mindset course, no problem.
Yeah. So another thing is, guys, keep in mind that my channel and Charlie's channel have received community guideline strikes, and we have been censored in the YouTube algorithm, and we are being actively shadow banned, both of our channels, right? So it is up to you out there to please hit the like button and organically share this. Put this in your Facebook groups. Send this to all your friends. If anybody you know is in possession of any form of digital asset in regards to cryptocurrency and or NFTs, this legislation, which has already passed the first stage of becoming a law, okay, this is directly relating to these people. So they must see this information. If you do not take action, action will be taken against you. And by taken against you, it means your money is going to be taken from you by the government, or you will go to prison. So this is very important. And, there's a lot of active suppression out there. All we want to do is educate people. We just want to educate people so that they can make their own choice. We don't want them to make the choice for themselves, but we just want to present data and let people come to their own conclusions.
Yeah, when you press that share button, you can also choose a timestamp, right? Which time of the video do you think is most relevant to the person you're sending it to? You can have a discourse that way with your friends or your family or your colleagues if you like them.
Yeah, and so let's start first. Let's start first by talking about. Let's start with the good news before we depress everybody. Let's go to
Good news is Bitcoin is decentralized and they can't take it away from you if you own your private keys.
Yeah. I actually have some like I don't even know if I should play this. I have some moderately disturbing good news. I don't know if this means that we're at a top or whatever, but I'm just gonna show you guys something, and it's slightly cringe, but to start to show off, I think that this is progress. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you guys. For those of you who don't know what Bitcoin is or how it works, this is a recent advertisement put up by Cash App, and just take a look here. As fucked up and weird this is progress.
Actually, legit information, but we'll comment on it after. Technically, not wrong.
But the only thing is, when you buy with so there's a massive agenda behind this, and I'll cover that shortly.
Oh, Jack Dorsey is the one who's paying for this, right?
So Jack Dorsey is the CEO of Twitter. After he funded Twitter, he made Square, which is a payment processor system for businesses. After that, he dumbed Square down and he made Cash App, which is the easiest way to like send money, because he knew that, the social media game is as lucrative as it is. Twitter is the worst social media out there, and it is dying. And the number one use of Twitter is now political. That's the number one. Like Twitter says like, oh, we take pride in the fact that we do not sell politically motivated ads. You can't buy political ads or anything on Twitter because the number one reason Twitter's used is politics. Hence, former President Donald Trump being on there causing the world to set on fire every time he tweeted.
Yeah, the interesting thing about that as well is like, who was it? I think it was like when Libya basically overthrew Gaddafi. I was watching. I think it was like one of the Anthony Bourdain's No Reservations from a while back, and he was just going down and like speaking to the militants and stuff, and the people who basically overthrew him, and they were like making guns out of like different like spare metal parts that they had from cars and stuff, and they were like, so how did you like get like airstrikes to come in and stuff? And he was like, oh, it was easy. We just tweeted at NATO, and then we used our Google or Apple Maps, and then we pinpointed locations, and that's how we got bombs to come in. I was like, damn. Yeah. Like, yeah, that's real shit,
I'll go. This is my analysis of the situation with Cash App. So Jack Dorsey, like all men with power, the only thing that satiates him is more power. I think that he knows that the future is absolutely centered around Bitcoin. Twitter is accumulating a lot of Bitcoin. Jack is spoken out about this a lot. And I think in the future, Jack wants more power. He already is drunk. He banned President Trump, former President Donald Trump, off of his platform. That's powerful to do that.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like, no matter if like, I know there's a lot of people like, oh, good, I was kind of sick of his shit, and it's whatever. Like, who cares, right? Like, it doesn't matter. Like, literally, you're banning free speech, and that's what it comes down to, And if you can ban free speech from the person who's holding the highest office, like, you can ban free speech from anybody. Like, that's what matters.
That's exactly what matters. So he wants power, and more people that go through Cash App, the more money he makes. The only thing that Megan Thee Stallion did not speak correctly on is when you buy cryptocurrency on Cash App, you don't actually have possession of the cryptocurrency. It's just your screen says you have it, but you don't really have it. You don't have access to your private keys. I don't even think you actually own actual Bitcoin, right? You can't withdraw off of Cash App, correctly?
You can withdraw off of Cash App. So like you can send it across to like another crypto exchange or whatever. So that it's better than PayPal in that way.
Because PayPal, I know that. Yeah, PayPal you cannot withdraw.
Right. you're just stuck there. And same with Robinhood. They both said, PayPal and Robinhood have both said, yeah, we'll make it so that you can withdraw at some point.
Mm.
At some point.
Initially, you couldn't take it off of Cash App, if I'm correct, right?
I don't know, but I know I've received Bitcoin from other people from Cash App to like a private wallet and stuff like that. So
Okay.
It is useful in that way. So it's more like a Coinbase, right? Like
Right.
Coinbase, you don't own your private keys either.
Right.
Coinbase is obviously
Bitflyer.
a little bit more complex. Yeah, exactly. So it's just a simpler version of a centralized exchange.
So now, I always said this was like an indicator that if like once, thanks for subscribing, Miguel. Don't forget to subscribe, guys. Once people have actually realized that how cryptocurrency works, right? I think that's like a beginning indicator of progress. Like, like I said, 20 years ago, you asked a chick, how does email work? You ask like just like a 40-year-old white woman married in like Kentucky. How does email work?
Katie Couric.
How does email work? I don't know. It's a tool of the devil.
Have you ever seen that Good Morning America clip with Katie Couric like asking, what is email?
Yeah. I've seen that hilarious one. And so I think when the average person, right, can actively break down, like when a girl you see in the Fresh and Fit podcast, when she can break down how Bitcoin works, I mean, then that's progress. And right now you can't.
Yeah, and like if they can, like they don't have to explain like the IP protocols behind like how email works, right? They don't have to explain like exactly how the blockchain works, but at least have like the general concept, like
right,
like
it's a peer-to-peer cashless system, and decentralized. And that's, I think, honestly, whoever wrote that that commercial was fantastic. Like, and it was just all the proper poison the average American woman needs, like a man serving her, and like, and like you can be a boss babe too. And it's just like, like this,
and it can't be replicated.
Yeah. So, but I think it's a step in the right direction in general. Is like as some is like, some of the real super coders out there would be cringing as they watch that. I think it is progress and we need to acknowledge it.
Well, it was interesting because there was another one that was trying to be similar to this that came out with Spike Lee in it for this crypto ATM service. And so it was Spike Lee basically leveraging, racial discrimination to promote an ATM. It was like, all right, how those two connect? Like, sure. But, like he's using those same points, and obviously, and just, there was no talk about Bitcoin or anything. It was all about the political slant, right? And then they're like at the end, like, and crypto ATM. I'm like, probably would have been better if you guys like focused on like how crypto works or what crypto is. At least that's the progress from this video. So,
right. So, I think that is just like, I just wanted to show that it's an awkward sign of good news, but it is ultimately, in my opinion, good news. It is definitely fueled by one man's greed, Jack Dorsey. But I think the more we actively promote cryptocurrency and Bitcoin, the world does trend towards financial freedom. And ultimately, that is what we want for you here on the Tokyo Crypto Show.
Yeah, and I've been saying this for the last year and a half, which is it's going to get messy this decade when it comes to crypto. So like as it's like 2 steps forward, 1 step back, right? And if you guys go to my channel and you watch the digital currency wars, I have 7 parts over the last 1 year. I'm going to do the 8th part on Thursday, so tomorrow. And that's where I focus on, I call it digital currency wars because that's what we're leading into, right? I think the mainstream media has slightly started talking about it with the Chinese yuan RMB going into the digital space. And then they starting to use that to say, like, we have to go into the digital space as well. But the thing that's interesting about this is like, so we'll start getting people who are more aware of what cryptocurrency is, how to use it. They'll start playing with it. Like, oh yeah, I can make some money on this, right? The education won't be so deep. Exactly, right? But I was laughing at that as well when I saw that earlier. But like, So the education won't be so deep. So that's where the crypto mindset course comes in. And we're like, hey, do you actually want to learn how to be financially free? And do you actually want to know how to manage your own money and do all this? Because you're not going to get taught this in school, whether it's about cryptocurrency, about regular finance and everything in general. You're not going to learn that anywhere else. So we're doing our part for that. But then as we kind of liberate more people's knowledge in the cryptocurrency space and make people have a path to financial freedom, because it takes, a good 1.5 cycles to really get some progress down that road. So that's, like 5-6 years. But during that process, you're going to get a lot of misinformation along the way. And so you're also going to get people who are like, I don't want to be my own bank. It's scary to be my own bank. I don't want to be self-sovereign, and they want to be taken care of. So you're going to get this push pull, and that's where Celsius comes in. And Celsius is a great platform, right? But at the end of the day, they're a low-key bank, right? They're doing rehypothecation. They're doing loaning. You can do rehypothecation too, which is the first time like a banking service gave you the ability to rehypothecate, which is just, take a loan and then or basically lend your money out to other people as well. But you can also like take a loan and then go buy whatever cryptocurrency you want to pump with that loaned money, and then pump it up and pay that loan off over a period of time. So you can do that too. Like it's great. Celsius is a wonderful tool, but but you're going to get these kind of mixtures between centralized services and decentralized services. And some people are going to like one for the ease of use, and some people are going to like others because of the freedom. But we saw this with, just different things recently, like the more centralized services. You have to really dig deep into them to see if they're trustable, because they can take your money and censor it. And then one example is like USDC, which is the USD coin, which is made by Circle, which is a company linked to Coinbase. Now, technically, they could basically press a button and make their money, like basically turn it off, right? Or at some point in the future, they may be able to turn it off for some people. And now, as the United States government goes towards a central bank digital currency, there's kind of these little breadcrumbs on how USDC is either the blueprint for the central bank digital currency of the United States, or is actually going to be adopted as that one itself. Because Brian Armstrong from Coinbase, right? He's highly connected with JP Morgan. Before they were a little bit more open about it recently, but before that, he was kind of like secretly going to JP Morgan's headquarters, having meetings with Jamie Dimon as he's shit talking to Bitcoin and stuff. And it's just like, crazy. But
Jamie Dimon or Jamie Dimon?
It's pronounced both ways. I've heard both pronunciations.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
no, same guy we both hate.
Exactly. Same douche. And so he's going over talking with those guys, right? And those guys are heavily involved with the Federal Reserve and yada, yada, yada. We all know the story. And Circle is involved with Coinbase. And now recently, the information about Circle, which is interesting, is Circle has applied to become a federal United States bank. Not a state bank in a state, but like a federally chartered bank. And so they're getting one step closer to being part of that Federal Reserve, kind of cabal, that the central bank mafia, if you want to call it that, and getting closer to the money printer, right? Getting close to the source of the fountain, and they have a money printer too. Oh, these two might be able to make something work, And I think come 2025, it's all going to kind of come to a head, and then most normal people won't really realize the difference or use case of most cryptocurrency in terms of being decentralized and owning your own until about 2027, 2028. By that time, Bitcoin will be about $1 million per Bitcoin. And, hashtag the Citadel mean for adjusted for inflation. We'll see. But basically, the reason why I think it'll take that long for people to really realize the power of Bitcoin and owning your own cryptocurrency and having your access to your private keys is because they will trust the private entities and the centralized entities to take care of it for them. And they'll have it on their phone. They will feel like they're making money. And then they'll ignore the ability to take it off of there and control their own money until they get hacked, rugged, something happens, and they lose faith in a centralized service. And they're like, shit.
Binance.
Yep, exactly.
I hope you guys have gotten your fucking money off of Binance, because some of you may be trapped, because Binance has permanently reduced starting August 4th, they said that they're going to reduce the amount you can withdraw daily to 0.06 BTC. So if you have a fat bag on Binance, it may be trapped, and you can only pull out 0.06 per day.
Which is
Right now,
currently 2,000, but down the road it might be a little bit higher, but still, like, it's not a lot. Yeah.
2,000.
Currently, I mean, it's currently 0.6
Bitcoin.
Well, right. We're miscommunicating. Yeah, like 0.6 Bitcoin is currently worth around like $2,000, $2,500. But yeah, like currently you can take 2 Bitcoin out per day. And depending on how old your account is, by the 23rd, I think nobody will be able to take out 2 Bitcoin per day.
Yeah, Alta. Tony S says, dude, you better like fucking, honestly, you better just stop watching and go do that shit now, to be honest with you.
Because it might take you a few days. So you want to do one now and then wait 24 hours and do it again. And then, until you got it all off.
The old limit was 2 Bitcoin per 24 hours. So they made the official announcement August 4th. And then the actual final implementation day is, when is it, Charlie? It's
around the 23rd, 24th. I think it's the 23rd.
23rd of August. So your money will be absolutely kept by the real president of China, CZ.
we met him here in Tokyo, man. Like, if there's going to be a president of China, I'd pick CZ over G any day.
Don't say that. We're gonna get fucking shut down, China hacked, you name it.
That's true. Oh yeah.
All hail China, the #1 nation. We love China. We love China. We love the Democrats. We love gays. We love transgender people. Black Lives Matter. Whatever we got to say.
The one thing I was gonna say was, the interesting thing about that is CZ. So he's kind of like this 50-50 mix in crypto, right? He used to be, all these guys get tainted as they get more power in the crypto space as well, especially if they're holding centralized entities. Because Brian Armstrong used to be a dude in crypto back in 2012, right? And then obviously you become powerful and, you become more centralized and you try to consolidate that power. I get it. And then, CZ was, a unicorn company. He was an awesome dude. We met him in person. Pretty cool dude. He's all for talking against the main establishment and all that stuff. And he still has decentralized his centralized organization by having an international version and then having local versions in different jurisdictions that don't want the international version to work properly. But, he's been working with the feds recently in terms of giving them information. So it's just kind of like interesting, not in the good way. And then, but he did force them to sign letters that said, "Thank you for cooperating with us," which is kind of a fucking boss move. There's a lot of people he ruffled feathers with on that. So he's kind of like done like these interesting things kind of on both sides of the coin, but hit in comparison to FTX, which is interesting. FTX was available in some jurisdictions to have a account where you were able to take off a good chunk per day. And then instead of giving people a warning of like a month or 2 weeks, they basically just made the button and said, all of a sudden you sign into your account and you can't move your stuff as easily without going through like an anal probe, basically. So it's interesting to kind of see the differences in operation between some of these guys, because it all sucks, right? When you're like a pure crypto dude and you're just like, yeah, I want to control my money, it sucks. But it's these kind of like, basically, I don't know, like just ringers of like them clamping down on your freedom of movement. It's just going to get tighter and tighter and tighter as this decade comes along. So you got to really educate yourself on, I think some people are like, there's going to be a point in time where people are like, well, if I take my Bitcoin off of Cash App and I put it onto a Trezor, me holding my own Bitcoin, is that legal? Like, you're literally going to get the narrative to be that strong against holding your own coins that I can see that happening in around 2025, 2026 during the next bull market. I think that's a narrative that I could see coming up pretty damn easily from people like Elizabeth Warren and shit like that. So, but the newbies, man, they're going to get brainwashed. So we got to make sure they get them in the crypto mindset course and set them right.
Yeah, it's going to be like when, I think, what was it, FDR that made it was illegal to own gold at one point in America?
Yep. They're going to make people, because they make people feel like privacy is illegal, right? Like, oh, do I actually have the right to my data? Like, I thought it was okay to, what is it? Like, I forget a few examples, but, like Edward Snowden, right, showed exactly why we need the freedom for privacy, right? Digital privacy and everything. It's like, do you put a camera into your house that the government can see you doing everything, 24/7? The answer is no.
Yes.
Well, yeah, the answer is yes, but I didn't mean to. But now I know, and I don't want to get rid of this luxury, So yeah, you're not wrong.
We're so cynical. I love it.
It's not. So people used to say, right, this shit is tinfoil hat. It is, conspiracy. They use all these different phrases to basically knock people's opinions, right? Then you have a guy that comes out with Edward Snowden in 2013 and shows, no, this is not crazy. This is legitimately happening, right? And you just get people being like, okay, as long as I still have my internet connection, I think it's not so bad.
I think it's so funny how people are like, Amazon's Alexa is always listening. Yeah. And hey, Siri. Yeah. This is not always listening.
Yeah.
Respect your privacy.
I'm sure you do. Oh, man. Anyways,
that's one of the first things that comes out of her mouth. That's
just
great.
Burn it all to the ground.
Josh, let me get rid of my shades in my house. Like I'll just take all the curtains off my windows. Just
take the front door off while you're at it.
Yeah, exactly. I thought locks were illegal as well. That's you gotta let them come in anytime they want.
Josh Ryan with the crypto snobbery comment. Why would you prefer Bitcoin over Monero when BTC is slow, costly, fungible, has no privacy? It's just the easiest, most accessible coin for the average person. In order for a global financial revolution to happen, therefore, this is why we actively support Bitcoin, because it's the easiest way to teach people about it as well. Yes, we understand that Monero is the superior cryptocurrency.
It is.
We have had conversations with John McAfee. You have not. We understand. Okay, please watch our previous episodes.
Well, and the other thing is like Bitcoin still rules the roost in terms of, are the prices going to go up or down or sideways or whatever? It's like we need Bitcoin to do well in order for this entire industry to do well. So it's part of Monero's success as well.
Josh, elifprogram.com. He says everything is always listening since 2006.
That's correct. Everything is always listening since 2006, but it's also been proven.
Miguel, if you want to come on, we'll send you the link, buddy.
Oh, hell yeah. It's also been proven that AT&T, all of your calls through AT&T since the late 80s, I think it was 1989 or 1991, somewhere in there, all calls through an AT&T provider on telephone were also basically kept in a database.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised at all. I mean, it's just, I don't even know how to react to that. But ultimately,
the majority of our lives have been monitored as much as possible.
Exactly. So, Josh with the counter snobbery. Monero guy probably also thinks the Linux he uses is private too. Ryan Sullivan, $5 super chat. I think I lost some funds trying to trade USDC on Serum. Okay. You want to beam him up if you want to link him.
Oh, I'll do it. Yeah, sure.
So we're gonna bring Miguel in. Get your Miguel bows ready, and we got our homie Dollar Cost Crypto coming in the show. It's gonna be a really good show. But yeah, like I said, so what we're gonna do? Yeah, it is fantastic. I think we've been on fire. Again, guys, please be sure to send this. All you guys in the Hex community, send this out to all your Hex Special Olympic chats, and all you guys.
One of your guys has been full hexakind crypto gym rat.
Oh yeah. He's a good guy. He helped me train Happy.
I know. I just thought it was interesting for the hexakins out there who are still like, MLD is the devil. It's like, well, some of the hot dude army is already hexakins.
I'm the boogeyman under the hex guys, fucking under their bed. They're dreaming about me. This guy has his own opinion. But anyway, so what we'll do
gotta have
is
that group thing. No.
we're gonna have Miguel's gonna join us here, and then in the meantime, Charlie is going to chart for us Bitcoin, Ethereum, just giving us an overall prediction. And you want to do anything else? You want to talk about Uniswap or Kusama maybe?
No, I think mainly of. I mean, we can. Yeah, if you have questions about those kinds, we can jump into them. Just let me know after we do. We'll do DOT for sure. We'll do Bitcoin, Ethereum, DOT, and then if you want to take a look at Uniswap, I can do that. And then
Perfect.
most of the stuff that I was gonna.
Andrew Anderson with one word, please.
Yeah, the only other thing I was going to talk about was basically the infrastructure bill, so we'll get into that too.
Yeah. So what we'll do is we're gonna do price analysis, okay, and then we're gonna go into the infrastructure bill, how it's what exactly. So it's funny how it's called the infrastructure bill, and only 9% of the bill in itself is dedicated to infrastructure. The other 91% is basically bigger government, more taxes, more money printing, and the financial obligation is passed on to viewers like you in America. So who, even if you leave America, you must pay taxes. The only way you can stop paying taxes as an American citizen is to renounce your citizenship or properly allocate your finances in a way that you can do tax aversion, not tax evasion, tax aversion, AVERSION. Okay. Here we go with the charts. Charlie, we're going to go full screen. Take it away.
Yep. So we got Bitcoin here within the basically we're paying attention to this current 60-day cycle from July 20th here, the bottom of the last cycle. So for anybody who's newer to the concept of 60-day cycles, from our friend Bob Lucas, go definitely follow him on Twitter. He has a lot of good opinions on this, and he's the one that came up with the 60-day cycle idea. But anyways, he did not create cycles, so obviously he took that idea from somebody else and expounded upon it, but which is a very good find here in the crypto space. But anyways, we have low to lows that we're basically calculating, which over the last 4 years have been about 58.5 days on average from low to low. As you can see, from this low to this low, we had 54 days. From this one to this one, 61. From the previous one to this one, 75. So they alternate in time slightly. So it is part of an art, and it's a little bit of a science as well to figure out the lows themselves. But anyways, we did have a clear low here on July 20th. And the idea behind the 60-day cycle is we go to the midpoint of the cycle, which is day 30 out of 60, right? And we have a bearish or bullish situation. A bearish situation is when we have the high before day 30. So here we had this one when Bitcoin was 64,000. The top was on day 19 of this cycle. And then we tried to make a new high there, failed to make one. And that's where the cycle failed, right? We basically get what we call a left translated cycle or a bearish cycle. And then we had this one before day 30, day 26. We did not have a new high until past day 60. So that was bearish for the second half of this cycle. And so now we're coming up to day 30 here on this 60-day cycle, which is on August 20th. And very, very simple. You go look at the previous lows around 30 to 29,000, right? And then you come here to the higher end, which is this 200-day moving average. Well, that's why we put a line on those two prices and then this line on time. So it just makes a very simple kind of grid. And within that grid, the closer you get to day 30 of the cycle, if you are closer to the upper end of this grid, it's more likely that we'll continue up past day 30, likely into a new high, roughly around somewhere. The average on the 60-day cycles over the last 4 years has been a high between day 45 to about day 55. So that would give us, by the look of this, we're very strong. We're holding above that 200-day moving average very strongly. So we still have 9 days before the mid-cycle midpoint. So in order to get a negative bearish cycle, the price would basically need to drop back down to the mid 30Ks within the next 9 days. And then that would continue a strong downtrend. Now, the momentum is clearly up, right? We're not overbought. The momentum is up. So what I expect is kind of some sideways action here over the next few days. And then going into day 30 or just after, we might get even a little bit of a dip below that 200-day again. But then right up from day 45, which is September 4th, to September 14th, that 10-day period is probably when you get the high of this cycle. And I'm looking around the prices between 49,000 to 57,000. But I would say probably the kind of key number would be, if I were to narrow it down, would be about 55 to 56,000. I could see Bitcoin getting up to there in early September. let's just, an easy date to remember could be September 11th, right? Just $55,000 on that date would be not surprising. Oh, good timing. Good timing. It's a conspiracy.
Oh, we're going to hell. Just joking. Based off that commercial we saw of Megan Thee Stallion, we already are in hell.
Oh, man,
oh fuck everything. Go ahead.
So, yeah. Right around there, right? That would be very probable, right? I can see that path. And then we do get a new low, right? But a higher low. And that's around day 60 of the cycle, or anywhere between day 60 to day 65. So let's put that around September 21st. And then around the price of the low 40Ks or high 30Ks, right? So I would see that, and that would be the first movement in a positive direction, because once you have a positive part of this cycle, then that leads to more probabilities to go up, or at least chop sideways, and that would basically dampen the downtrend or remove the downtrend and start a recovery from the dip that we had starting in April going through the middle of the summer. So this is a very positive development for Bitcoin specifically, and that then bleeds into the rest of the cryptocurrency space. So if we go over to Ethereum, right, this has
look at that. That is just beautiful. It's beautiful and terrifying.
Yeah, it's beautifully terrifying. But
yeah,
Ethereum, right, coming up, the only price action it's ever had in Ethereum's history above the current price has been for a very short period of time. It's from this day here to this day here. We've only had 16 days in Ethereum's entire history ever above the current price, which is interesting. And so if Bitcoin continues up here into a positive cycle, a 60-day cycle, Ethereum can come and test the high 3,000s, low 4,000s by that September 11th period, right? So should be interesting to kind of see how that plays out. But also Ethereum, right, in terms of numbers of green candles in a row on the daily chart, I believe this one here was about 13 days in a row. Yeah, 13 days in a row of positive price action. That is the longest streak in Ethereum's history of green candles on a daily chart. And then you only have 1, 2, 3 red candles in between since then. And we're currently on day 21 of the cycle. So that's pretty interesting right there. Basically, Ethereum's on a roll, and EIP 1559 came out reducing Ethereum supply on the 4th/5th. I forget which day exactly, but right around the midpoint of this uptrend. So normally speaking, right, this type of uptrend going into that date would have had a decent pullback if we were still in a significant downtrend. But Ethereum did beat this number here of 2,900, which is its previous high here, which signals that Ethereum probably has more upside to go as well. So I'm looking at that high 3,000 area. So
is this any way connected to EIP 1559?
So yeah, I just said it was, right. So like
right.
that right here, this line that I put on the chart is
right.
around the day that EIP 1559 launched, and that made Ethereum more scarce by the burning of Ethereum. Right. That has helped to make this trend last longer. Otherwise, I think at that point, it might have lost momentum around this part here around 28, 29K, and then would have continued into a downtrend. So this has definitely boosted it up a good chunk.
Yeah. Yeah. And then the reason I was slightly distracted because I was reading 2 super chats. I want to read the really important ones. Michael James Capagnoli, $9.99 super chat says, "Hey guys, I don't have enough to buy the course, but I have $600 now to invest and another $400 at the end of the month. What do you think I should do? I think you should recalculate your math skills because Crypto Mindset course opens for enrollment on September 3rd, right, Charlie?"
Yes, September 3rd to September 7th. Get in or stay poor.
Right. So you will have enough money for the Crypto Mindset course. So I definitely believe that you should go to cryptomindsetcourse.com and get on the waiting list so you can get into the course and get educated, because it is the #1 cryptocurrency education course on the planet. I want to just address this idiot real quick. Latin American Crypto says you can get better technical analysis and make better decisions for free in the Hex community. So if you want to be permanently banned from Charlie's channel, you write stupid shit like this, you will never be unbanned Latin American crypto unless you donate one full Bitcoin to me and Charlie. Okay, I'm gonna make it hard for you.
And let me answer this question as well, right?
Yeah, go ahead, because people like Tom Bombadil are giving advice in the Hex community, and so
well, who turned Tom Bombadil onto Hex?
I'm just saying, like, you're if you're just going to trust a random individual on the internet with not a publicly verified track record of 2 years plus on the YouTube channel that you've been doing and here in the Tokyo Crypto Show, hey, you sound like a gambler to me. Go for it. But if you're going to write really like fucking just stupid shit like this in the chat, you will be permanently banned. Think about what we sacrifice daily to come and research this stuff and get on YouTube and talk about this absolutely free every single day.
Exactly. And that's the thing is like I've had an interesting relationship with different people in the Hex community. I sacrificed probably more Hex for Pulse than that guy did. I can guarantee that. But anyways, regardless of that, basically, let's imagine like, okay, technical analysis. You like this brand, you like that brand, whatever. It is like a little bit of flavor. Some people like certain types, but at the end of the day, what gets you fucking results and what makes you money? Go and watch the show that I did yesterday, basically talking about the road to $110,000 for Bitcoin and $11,500 for Ethereum by the end of the year. How do we get there? How does it look? And see, what you think about that analysis, and then come back to that show at the end of the year and see if I was correct or wrong. Right at the end of the day, if you have the receipts, are you correct or wrong? That's the most important. It doesn't matter how you come to your conclusion on the analysis, as long as you're using the tools that are good and getting that result. So, and then, yeah, like you said there with the free information or whatever that we're giving out every day, like we don't force anybody to take the course. We're like, hey, come into the course or like we'll shoot your eye out or something, right? There's like,
we have no Moon Gang enforcers yet.
Yeah, right. And so it's like you have people of their free will going into a course and coming back. Why? Because we've literally minted multiple millionaires, and we talked about Hex in the course, and we got over we've gotten definitely over 900 people into Hex through our crypto mindset course, and a large amount of people in the course sacrificed for Pulse and have made good money, and probably sacrificed more for Pulse than this guy. So who gives a shit? Like at the end of the day, most of those types of people who like, there's a lot of people in the Hex community who actually are like, wow, okay, they've changed their minds. We've changed our minds on the Hex project. They've changed their minds on us, on the different types of information that we give out. Yeah. Like in crypto, if you don't question, new technologies when they come out, and you just like basically fall in line because other people try to intimidate you to do so, like then you can't have a proper discussion. It's the same thing with politics, right? If you can't have a discussion and a debate on a subject and talk about both sides of the coin, where's democracy, right? You have freedom of speech, freedom of figuring stuff out. And so, yeah, a lot of the Hex community that basically hates any of the things that we've said still are usually the newer people who basically they have just seen some of the negative press, and they haven't actually done their due diligence and watched our channel. So in that regards, it just shows that the more uneducated guys like that are in general. So that's just my 2 cents on that. But anyways, we can go forward and say, so Ethereum, let's look for 3,900 around September 11th, right? Just roughly speaking. So that's where we're going. Yes, exactly. Exactly. So
Jerry with a big promise for you.
Yeah, it does. I mean,
welcome, Miguel.
Yeah, we got him here. Cool.
Yo, what's going on, you guys?
Morning.
But yeah, so I mean, we give away shit tons of awesome information through the course. So it's definitely worth the price. And it's actually, compared to what we could be charging for that, compared to how much money we're making for other people, right? Basically, we're minting a lot of millionaires out here. Could be charging more, but we don't because we want to give everybody that education. But last thing about Bitcoin and Ethereum, we'd have dominance of Bitcoin basically trending sideways, which is good for the altcoins because now that Bitcoin is above its 200-day moving average. And at the same time, if we turn on the weekly, and we go above the 20-week moving average here, because now Bitcoin is above both of those marks. That allows the altcoins room to run. And let's talk about one. So DOT, Kusama, right? Here we have the DOT to Kusama ratio, just looking at how they are working towards each other against Bitcoin. And right now, we had a very good discount on Kusama compared to DOT. So it's a good area. You can flip some DOT into Kusama. In the last 2 days, we've had good resurgence of Kusama against DOT. So DOT doubled right from $10 to $20, and Kusama has now started to shift back up as well. So outpacing DOT at the current moment. Even at the current price, it is still a good area to be buying more Kusama if you're comparing the two. But if you don't care about the two and you're just looking for one or the other, you can look at, let's say, the simpler chart, DOT to the dollar. And if we pull this back out to, let's say, the weekly chart.
Looking good.
Yeah, it recovered its 10-day moving average, which is the first step in breaking a downtrend. So it clearly broke the downtrend from that big fall after Bitcoin crashed. The next area for DOT to gain a lot more traction is about $25 on this 20-week moving average. Once it gains above there, you'll see a quick move on DOT, probably up here to about $45, $50. And then if it does make new all-time highs, the target for DOT coming out of this downtrend would be about, we'll go from the low just to
give me that moon math, Charlie. Give me that moon math.
Oh, this is like conservative moon math here. We can go into the other stuff, but like the conservative target after breaking its all-time high, which I think can happen anytime between late September to mid-October, is about $90 to $138. And last week on the Tokyo Crypto Show, I said my conservative target for DOT by the end of the year would be about $104. But I think, these targets anywhere between basically $90 to $140 would be very easily attainable by DOT through an uptrend. So Q4, have those, low goals of a 5x on DOT, but it's possible that we can see even a 6 or 7x on DOT by the end of this year. So looking good.
Looking good. What up, Miguel? Real quick,
up,
Peter Crozen. Charlie, you could just remove that at the bottom.
Yeah, I
did. In crypto since March, attended Q2 and Q3 of the Crypto Mindset course, sold for around $5,000 of stocks and invested the money into crypto on the 24th of July. Best decision ever. And again, it's not, remember, the Crypto Mindset course is not financial advice. It is crypto education. What you choose to do with the information from that moment forward is 100% your responsibility. However, we seem to have a lot of responsible people in the community because
which is rare in crypto, to be honest. Very extremely rare. Like, you go to crypto Twitter and you get people crying and like, I traded on your chart that you gave me for free through a Twitter and I lost money. It's your fault. My account went to zero. Like, it's like there's this thing called like self-responsibility, but it was non-existent in 2017.
Those are the same people that want to fucking hand over their crypto to the government. Like, just take care of it for me, you know? So Rylight, $4.99 super chat. What's a better buying option? Buying one Bitcoin or 1,000 DOT? Not financial advice. Depends on what you want outcome wise. But as far as a dollar multiplier, I would say DOT.
Yeah, it also depends on what point of the cycle we're in. So we're getting towards that last 1/3 of the bull market, if we're speaking roughly. So 1,000 DOT is going to make you more money than one Bitcoin during that period of time. The next time you're going to want to go turn that 1,000 DOT, you'll then turn it into USDC at the top of the market, or not at the exact top, but towards the top of the market. Then you'll change that, whatever that USDC is at that time, into more than one Bitcoin. So the end goal, right, is to get more Bitcoin or more Ethereum and have that at the beginning stage of the next bull market. But, if you want to learn how to do that process, we'll discuss that in the course.
Miguel, good morning. I know it's really early in California and it's got to be tough living in California, just in general. I heard you can print your own ballot at home for the Gavin Newsom recall election. You can just print your ballot at home now. You know that?
Right next news to me right now, man. But I'll fire up the printers right now.
That being said, welcome. We're going to talk about this infrastructure bill. Do you have any take on it before we go into the meat of the subject?
It's like 5% infrastructure and 95% other bullshit. Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually it's 9. They did a breakdown. 9% in infrastructure, 91% spending money and raising taxes.
And
Wow.
spying on you and taking business out of America related to cryptocurrency. Yeah, a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, it's wild to say the least. So I guess we should where should we start, Charlie? Let's start with what they're proposing with the bill. Let's start with
Sure.
that, and then we're going to talk about the bill. Again, we're not taking any side politically. Our political views are just leave us alone. So, or whatever YouTube wants us to be. So, we're going to talk about the bill, what they have passed. Okay, so this is how it goes. First, they propose a bill, and then they propose it to the Senate, and the Senate is Congress. Okay, it's two names for it, but the Senate is Congress. Every state in the United States of America has 2 Congress members that represent it in this thing called the Senate. Now, once the Senate passes this bill, the next step it goes to is the House of Representatives. Now, again, not getting political, just objectively stating facts. Every single Democrat in the United States of America Senate has voted unanimously on this bill to pass it. 19 Republicans also voted for this bill, giving it, and one senator from South Dakota did not vote on it. So the final vote was 69 votes to 30 votes in a majority decision to pass it. The next step it has to go to is the House of Representatives. The House of Representatives is controlled by Nancy Pelosi, who is a staunch Democrat. And if we are to see the same pattern again, we're going to see a sweeping Democratic vote in the House of Representatives. Then it has to go to President Joe Biden, who is also a Democrat. So if this is not stopped and people aren't contacting either government officials and complaining about the legislature in this bill, it will become a law. The good news is it would not go into effect. Even this is like terrible. I don't even have to say this is good news, but it won't go into effect until 2023. So there will be some time to rug the government.
Probably be a shift in who's sitting in that Oval Office by that time as well.
I doubt it.
No, I mean in terms of like a guy losing his pulse.
He's already he's
well, you know what I'm saying though.
He's an android.
Bet that you have.
He's a replicant. He's a replicant.
Yeah.
But anyways, so it looks like this has a clear shot of victory, in my opinion. But I think that by producing just the facts for you guys out there, you can actively plan and you can actively see what's going on. And when the people are educated, there can be positive changes made for the people. Because the greatest irony of all of this, and I have a clip of Chuck Schumer here after the bipartisan infrastructure deal. This is just bullshit after bullshit. After it's passed, I'm going to play like a minute and a half of this guy's speech just so you could see what kind of slime we're really dealing with in it. Just the double talk. I mean, it's just insane. It's just like pure clown world. But Charlie, you want to talk about the actual effect that the bill is going to have on people?
Yeah, on consumers, it's not going to have a whole lot of an effect. It has more effect on the cryptocurrency businesses. So in terms of when we're talking about the cryptocurrency, basically aspect of the course, or not of the course, of the amendment or of the infrastructure bill, right? So like basically, it makes brokers who can't basically prove financial transactions. So what they're saying is miners, proof of stake validators, and these different people will have to ask the people that they're confirming transactions for their identification, basically know your customer, KYC type stuff. But to people in a decentralized network who they don't really know who they are, and they can't get that information from those people anyways. So they're basically, because they, like we said before, the government and the people in the Senate/Congress don't really understand what cryptocurrency is. They put something in there that is impossible for them to actually even do, right? Which is kind of hilarious. So they're asking them, hey, you got, since you're a broker and you have, as a miner or a proof of stake person, you have to KYC these people and you have to give that information to the government. And if you don't, you're running an unlawful business. Well, we can't get that information, and we can't validate these people because we're not actually, we are confirming the transactions, but we're actually handling the money. The decentralized network actually does that through different operations, right? And so basically you're asking us to do is impossible, and you're going to penalize us for that. And so then we're not going to have miners in America anymore, because why would I want to do that? Why would I want to put myself at risk of that when I can go to another country, mine it, perfectly lawfully, no problem. Still have people in America still have access to cryptocurrency and still have access to the Bitcoin blockchain. Everything's hunky dory, but they're just driving business out of the United States, right? And there was Kentucky and Texas and a few other places which had recently passed pro Bitcoin mining legislation because they want to bring business to their state away from countries like China and make America more competitive in the future of finance, right? And it's like you get the likes of people like New York probably doesn't like that Kentucky and Texas are going to become more competitive in the financial space because they want it all. They already have it all. They got Wall Street, right? So it's kind of a self-destruction if you view it from that perspective. And it's a propping up of foreign nations because this technology can't be stopped. Countries are going to accept it. We already got El Salvador declaring Bitcoin as a legal currency, and in addition to the US dollar. And so you're going to have other countries taking that business and billions, maybe even trillions definitely trillions of dollars, because we already have Bitcoin market cap and different cryptocurrency market caps. Well, the whole crypto market cap well above $1 trillion. And so you're going to have trillions and trillions of dollars of economic freedom being taken away from businesses that could be legitimate in America. Now, when it comes to an individual, right, you can use Bitcoin all day, every day, no problem. There's going to be a little bit more clamping down on your personal privacy when it comes to cryptocurrency, because it's going to be harder to on-ramp. I mean, you basically already can't on-ramp on Bitcoin in America without KYC almost virtually. Right. There's a few different options.
Shout out to my people in Mexico.
and Ernie.
Oh, and Ernie, right?
that was one of the best. I wish someday we'll have to clip that, but it was an unrecorded portion of the course. That was the best.
Yeah.
But anyways, he knows who he's in the chat today.
Oh, is he?
But and there's people who are Q for course of 2020, the original OGs of the crypto mindset know what we're talking about. But yeah, that's basically for most people.
I'm just laughing at how fucking pessimistic Ari is.
No, I don't say the Bitcoin price does not drop by 50%. What it does is it forces people who are buying Bitcoin in America, right? It'll force miners out of the United States, but the people in America will still be buying Bitcoin. And the people who know, right, they'll be basically pushed underground if they want to keep some of their cryptocurrency private. And it's totally legal to keep your cryptocurrency private and in your possession, right? Mm-hmm. It's not illegal to do that. It's illegal for the people transacting that Bitcoin to not have, know who they're dealing with. So it's like gold, right? Is it illegal for you to buy gold and hold it in your house with nobody knowing that? Of course it's not. You can do that, no problem. Mm-hmm. But if you buy the gold from somebody, they do have to take identification, know who you are generally. So that's on the part of the financial intermediary, not you as a person. And people are going to get confused by that.
We are getting like incremental wins in cryptocurrency as well. Do you know, Charlie? Do you know AMC, the theaters? You can pay in Bitcoin now.
Yep, I think by the end of this year they'll have that all implemented. So yeah,
you can pay $9 for a small popcorn and using Bitcoin.
Oh yeah, baby.
With like a 5,000% profit margin on popcorn. John M, a $5 super chat says, how will this affect crypto that's pegged to the USD stablecoins such as USDC, USDT, since a lot of it's loaned out and staked as well? Well, as my friend Miguel likes to say, life is a Ponzi, and so and so, I mean, who really knows at that point? It's just I really don't think it's going to affect the price too much. I think.
Well, look at it. Did it affect the price on the day that it came out? The price went down by like 0.5% after the infrastructure bill was passed. And people were like, ooh. See, this is the thing about Bitcoin, right? You can FUD Bitcoin all you want,
Right,
but if
exactly.
you FUD Bitcoin in an uptrend, right? Fear, uncertainty, and doubt, give fake news, give boogeyman type shit to Bitcoin when it's in an uptrend. Bitcoin just does this, right, and says, "I'm going up." Right? That's where Bitcoin, if you try to take it down in an uptrend, it's very hard.
Yeah.
If you strategically look for when Bitcoin starts a downtrend, right? And then you put some FUD in during that period of time, like Elon Musk in China, of course, it's going to exacerbate the trend and push it down faster, right?
Temporarily.
Temporarily, exactly. And so, especially when it's levered up. So you have to understand which part of the trend you're in and how that'll affect the trend, because at some point, basically Bitcoin doesn't care what the government thinks and says my fair value is higher than the current price and I'm going up.
Let's just bring a sobering reality to the chat. People are complaining about $33,000 Bitcoin. That's 11x from last year's low, basically.
And it's they're going to be begging for that a year from now, begging for $33,000 Bitcoin, and we might not ever hit that price ever again. It's very possible.
So America needs to, sorry, let me just say this real quick, then I'll pass it to you, buddy. America just needs to get their head out their ass. These politicians particularly who think like, oh, we're just America. Like nothing bad can happen to us no matter what we do. If America is to hurt the growing atmosphere for Bitcoin is going to continue to grow. It'll just go somewhere else. It'll go to Germany. It'll go to Italy. It'll go to India. It'll go to whoever adopts it.
Antarctica.
It'll go to Antarctica, right? Penguins will not mind that shit. But all jokes aside, you really can't stop this thing. Like the genie is already out of the bottle, and it's just who is going to harbor Bitcoin. Because even if the G20, the G8, all these major nations band together and try to ban Bitcoin, you're just going to have a bunch of El Salvadors pop up like, hey, fuck it, we're poor as shit. We'll take some money. We'll take some of those fucking crypto nerds and come to our country where the women are skinny and nice, and we have beautiful beaches, and you could live for like $400 a month like a king. And I mean, and then if you go real dark with it, like you just calculate your Bitcoin and how much money you need every month until you fucking die, right? And then you're just living out a good life, and then this wealth slowly but surely transfers from these first world nations to these third world nations, these second world nations, and there's a giant elevation happening. I mean, there's a big example of what's happening with Vietnam right now. I know a lot of people have never been to Vietnam, but I've been to Vietnam. Dude, Vietnam is an up and coming nation. A lot of stuff, if you check your name tags and you check your clothing and stuff, a lot of stuff is made in Vietnam. And the Koreans are aggressively moving in there into the steel industry. A lot of steel is done out in Vietnam and Thailand. China is aggressively moving into Vietnam. Japan is aggressively moving into Vietnam. And those are the three economic powerhouses in Asia: Korea, Japan, and China. And in Vietnam, you can live very, very, very well for $2,000 a month. And I'm talking like servants, drivers, very nice apartment. Not like, oh, I have like a 1-bedroom shithole that's like, kind of nice for a third worldly place. If you want to just get by and still live comfortably, you can easily do it in Vietnam for like $900 a month. Like I'm like eating well, gym membership, don't have to work that much. So a lot of these little nations are going to start picking up the slack. And I think there's a lot of arrogance going on in America and the government right now. And I think it's a mad dash for power that they know they're losing, in my opinion.
Well, I think the interesting thing about it as well is when you look at the distribution of wealth and financial control globally, right? What's the whole reason for sanctions on a lot of nations? The whole reason for that is financial control, right? So like a country like Iran, for example, who cares what you think about its politics? You might hate the country, it's fine. What are they going to do to bypass sanctions and then also to have financial freedom? They're going to start adopting Bitcoin. They already have. right? And
No
then,
central bank in Iran. A lot of people don't realize that. No central bank in Iran, North Korea, and where's the last one?
I don't know.
Oh, Iceland.
Iceland.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And Iceland, it's worked out for them. North Korea, not so much.
Yep.
Iran was forced to from the British government. So
They literally took every banker by gun point and kicked them out. They took the central bankers and kicked them out during the financial crisis. They're the only nation that think they have the balls to kick out their Federal Reserve out of their country.
Yeah, Iceland's dope. Yeah, and they have a lot of Bitcoin miners there as well. And
Right.
and North Korea steals Bitcoin from Japan because they don't have any other way to make money. But I mean, seriously, they hack it, right? So it's and so that's the thing about Bitcoin, right? Is it does distribute wealth more whatever you consider fairly, right? It gives everybody the opportunity globally to have a piece of the financial pie, whether you agree with them politically or not. Now, a lot of that scares the shit out of a lot of people, including politicians, right? And that's a huge can of worms discussion to discuss. But like you said, the genie's already out of the bottle. It's happening, whether you like it or not. And there's countries like Indonesia, which have a population comparable to this, the United States, which their government is really trying to drag their heels on Bitcoin and everything, because they're like, if we get all the poors in this country to be able to have financial freedom, we're going to have a revolt against that government, and they don't want that. So, because they literally have slavery in that country still, when it comes to rubber, when it comes to Coca-Cola production, when it comes
you talking about Indonesia?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because I thought you were talking about China too, and I was like, you want to talk about slavery in Asia? I mean,
no, Indonesia is like pretty hardcore too.
Oh I'm well aware.
And if you were to give their people actual financial freedom and stuff through mobile phones, there'd be some interesting things happening. And and some people want the status quo to stay the same and want their cheap T-shirts made in Indonesia, and they don't think about it, right? They don't think about where the rubber for their tire was made and all that stuff, and how those living conditions are poor for a lot of those people. And a lot of people for the last 4 or 5 years were like, the whole thing about Bitcoin being, financially giving financial freedom and unbanking everybody globally is just like kind of like, it's a stupid narrative because it's not happening. Well, it's starting to happen, right? You got countries starting to do this stuff, and you got individuals starting to do it. And it's going to be an interesting transition. But like I said before, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. You're going to get a lot of, when it comes to changing a financial system, you're going to get a lot. I mean, that's how most wars are fought, are for money through history, right? So you're going to get a lot of pushback. It's not going to be an easy transition, and you're going to get all sorts of discussions on this over the next 10 years, which to me is very interesting and very, going to make the world a more interesting place. But like you always said, John, right? If you don't think that the internet is going to continue to grow, then don't buy Bitcoin. But if you think the internet is, is basically still going to grow in commerce and is still going to, be more prevalent in people's everyday lives and continue to innovate, then you should probably own some cryptocurrency. You can start with Bitcoin and Ethereum and then go from there.
Miguel, you wanted to say something, buddy? Oh, you're muted, sir.
Man, I'm the king of that shit. God damn it.
He always forgets to unmute himself.
Always forgets to unmute. Yeah.
Hey, you may suck at technology, but at least you know how to use Instagram, unlike Charlie.
But whether by hook by crook, man, you guys need to figure out how to get your hands on some BTC. The reason, like John was saying earlier, why Bitcoin's so important is it's the most available cryptocurrency in the world. If you can get your hands on Bitcoin, you can do anything. You could trade it for anything. It's our digital gold, and you could take that, get Monero, get Ethereum. With Ethereum, I mean, really, like if you really want to do anything in this world, you take that Bitcoin, you turn some of it into Ethereum, and the whole world's open for you.
Yep.
We teach you in the crypto mindset course. We teach you how to essentially buy from a mobile phone with some Ethereum. The whole crypto space is available to you on a mobile phone now. We teach you how to buy that cryptocurrency on that phone, and then actually how to store it safely so it's not stolen from you as well. And you'll learn all that. We'll guide you. We'll take you by the hand. Serenade you guys, and we'll teach you guys, how to essentially which cryptos are even worth even buying right now. Here's some free alpha. Just go buy DOT right now. It's the only one of the major infrastructure coins right now that hasn't pumped yet. And it's going to pump because it's going to have its parachain auctions later this year. It doesn't matter if the parachain auction is in December or in October. It doesn't matter because if you know it's going to happen, you can buy the pump before the pump's even here. It's 20 freaking dollars right now.
Yeah.
The thing is going to be worth hundreds of dollars before this bull market's over. Hundreds of dollars. So there's your free alpha right there.
Yep.
Free
Yep.
10x.
So be sure to post your complaints in the chat after that. A Firmino 7.99 super chat says, "Do you get double taxed both in the U.S. and Japan if you're making an income from American clients?"
Doesn't matter who your clients are.
Yeah,
But
doesn't matter.
Yeah, basically anything over $100,000. Yes.
$110,000 is the we do get a tax credit of up to $110,000 on all the money we make. After $110,000, we have to be paying taxes. So you can live abroad and be a peasant and not have to pay taxes back to America. But who wants to live that life?
That's exactly my thoughts.
Yeah. Anyway,
we'll talk about this in private, but there's another thing that I'll mention to you later. But yeah.
Let's just ban Tom Bombadil. Anyways, let's so okay. Do you want to cover the bill in detail, Charlie?
Well, let's go into the video because I think we already discussed, what we think about the bill, how it will affect people, like the gist of it, right?
Should we go over the legislation though, the actual statements in there?
Sure. Do you have it?
I have the actual bill itself.
Okay, the crypto portion. I think I had an article that I could pull up with just
pull that article version up. And in the meantime, I gotta be right back. I use the bathroom, so you look that up, and
I'll talk about the crypto bill right now.
Thank you.
Yeah. So what basically what's going on with the crypto bill? So they basically are trying to shake the entire crypto space. So they're trying to shake us down for our milk money. It's basically what they're trying to do. They're trying to do a whole sweeping feat of. They're trying to tax every little bit of cryptocurrency and then essentially make it almost impossible to actually even claim your taxes on it, because it doesn't matter if you're essentially a user, a miner, a app developer, anything that touches cryptocurrency, you essentially become a broker. In the way the bill is right now, Lord Ted Cruz had created wanted to add an amendment basically that's wanted to take out all the verbiage in the crypto in the bill. So anything that says crypto was just going to be out of the bill because it had nothing to do with the bill, basically, because they asked Congress and other senators who can actually explain what a blockchain is, and everyone's like, I can't. I think there was like one senator from Wyoming, which was trained up by Caitlin Long. Shout out that G. And basically, if the bill passes as it is right now, I think you guys said it doesn't go active until 2023. It gives us some time to eventually get it the hell out of here. But it's pretty negative in that whole thing, because basically it's going to be a reporting nightmare, as well as like the IRS really hasn't really given great guidance. It's real vague. So it's basically what they're trying to do is they're trying to give themselves the power in order to like really kind of fuck up any project or any person they want for any reason. And if the reason the IRS hasn't made it very clear on crypto just yet in terms of how to properly report everything is because they don't want to just yet. They want like right now they'll slap up any project that doesn't want to play ball in the States and get them the hell out of here. I mean, they slapped up BlockFi recently. They kicked them out of what's it called, not New York. They kicked them out of New Jersey and stuff. And there's starting to be kind of regulation in terms of kicking out some of the loaning partners in the United States. And those guys are the most centralized entities in crypto. So imagine what they're going to do with some decentralized entities in the States, because there's a lot of projects right now in crypto that are like, we're fully decentralized, you guys, fully decentralized, right? It's bullshit. Like, no, they're fully centralized projects and stuff that are like securities. And they're going to start slapping up a lot of projects around in the States. And unless you got your P's and Q's, is one reason why we recommended Celsius so heavily, because they're like they're basically the only cryptocurrency coin or company in the United States that's actually doing everything by the book. So they will not be shut down. And
they thought in advance.
Yeah, they thought about way in advance and stuff like that. There's some big politic games coming out here and stuff, because the ETF will not pass until there's more. So there's a lot of people haven't figured this out, but this is something me and Charlie talk about all the time, as well as John, is right now, because this is an opportunity right now. China basically kicked out a lot of their miners. The hash rate in China is down 50%. The United States is moving in right now. If you look at all the investment that's going on right now, U.S. investment into the mining sector is exploding right now. I think that's like an 8x and stuff. Celsius alone has done almost like $300 million in investments into the Bitcoin mining space. Basically, anyone from Peter Thiel to Alex Mashinsky is basically getting into the mining space. So the U.S. hash power is coming out. Once we have enough hash power where we feel that 51% of tech can't happen from China, even if they get the rest of the miners, at that point, we'll probably get the ETF, which is very good for crypto. So the ETFs really are nitrous booster here. And when that passes, basically, if ETF passes, we basically have a guaranteed, you can add $100,000 to BTC, like that.
Music to my ears, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got the thing pulled up whenever you
Okay, cool.
into that.
Ready when you are, boss.
Some great information right there.
So much needed optimism.
I'm a bull, sir.
No, I'm just saying because like this whole legislation. I'll just go full screen, Charlie. Go ahead.
Yep. So just to kind of read a little bit from this article, just from this point forward, basically here is the section of the bill regarding cryptocurrency. But here's just a little bit of a lead into it. So this is the debate over whether who should be exempt from financial reporting when it comes to cryptocurrencies. So in response to the criticisms, which were from Cynthia Lumens, Ron Wyden, so both sides of the aisle from different states, right? And Pat Toomey, right, proposed an amendment to the bill's tax provision that would reinstate protections for individual investors. The amendment releases entities including miners, software designers, and protocol developers from the need to report that data that would be difficult or impossible for them to collect. So basically, right, what this is saying is currently, right, the way the tax provision is right now, it does include individual investors and hadn't taken out other entities like miners and developers and stuff like that. So it's basically lumping everybody into the same box, which doesn't make any fucking sense. And then specifically, if it passes, the amendment would exempt brokers from the following requirements. And so here are some of the requirements that are in the bill itself, right? So they in the bill itself.
Look at that massive fucking red flag there when they mention the control of private keys.
Yeah, basically we'll get in. Yeah, it'll be here in a second. So validating. So basically, right, what is this saying, right? So not the amendment is the adjustment to it, right? But this is what would be required currently. So validating distributed ledger transactions, right? So anybody who is on, a miner or whatever would have to, who is doing that would have to basically find out who they're doing those transactions for. B, selling hardware or software for which the sole function is to permit a person to control private keys, which are used for accessing digital assets on or distributed ledgers, so like you're saying there. So Trezor, right, the company Trezor, if they were based in the United States, they would not be able to sell hardware to anybody to have you hold your private keys without you telling them every single detail about who you are. Right?
So KYC for the most anonymous thing we're trying to get right now.
Right. So that way they're like,
crypto.
Yep. So that way they're like, hey, you have I know that you bought a private safe for your house because when you went to the hardware store, you bought a private safe because you gave them, because it was a financial instrument to, basically hold your gold. And so now we know that you have that in your house. So if we go and decide to make gold illegal, right, we know that you have some, and we're going to come to your house and we have you kind of labeled, right? It's kind of the same thing as that, which, I mean, is kind of ridiculous. Why do people buy gold and then, or take cash and put it under their mattress, or take gold and bury it in their backyard?
Because they're terrorists.
Exactly. And so, yeah, those are just two of the parts right now that are still in there. And then C, So anybody developing digital assets on their corresponding protocols by other persons, provided that such other persons are not customers of the person developing such asset as or protocols, which is probably very much lawyer speak. I mean, if you read that as a normal human being, you're like, what the fuck are they talking about? So, yeah, basically, these are some of the things that they try to change with the amendment. This isn't the entire portion that is related to cryptocurrency, but these are some of the key points that people were pushing against. And if you just kind of look at some of the things that people were pushing against, you even had Elon Musk, right, coming and saying, hey, you guys do not know what you are doing. And if you do this, right, you're going to basically alienate an entire industry that could, enrich a lot of Americans as individuals, but
is absolutely on the path to fucking enriching a shitload of people,
including Coinbase, right?
Yep.
I mean, Coinbase itself probably would not get to the situation it is now as a public company without, the ability to do business as they have from the beginning. So, right. But yeah, Coinbase is against this, right? So they are standing with Square, Rivet Capital, Coin Center, blah, 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 about the digital asset provision and the infrastructure bill to take away those things that we were talking about there.
That's a big statement.
Yeah, and they applaud the people, Ron, White, and Lumens, to me, that were trying to make that proposal in a thoughtful amendment to the tech right. I don't even know what that means, but read our statement.
The tech right?
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
I've never heard about it.
I think they mean amendment. I think they mean amendment to get the tech right.
Technology. To get the technology.
Okay. We are not part of any political party on this channel.
No.
They're saying to get the technology right. Yeah.
Yes.
Full words here. Come on,
yeah.
Coinbase.
It's also Senator Loomis, not Senator Lumens. Senator Lewis.
Oh yeah, I was thinking of Stellar Lumens. So
me too, actually.
You live and breathe crypto. You're allowed to make crypto-based mistakes.
Yep. And I mean, here she is, right, talking about why this is important, and then this is a guy talking about those specific portions that they disagreed with, and even the CEO of Coinbase basically saying that the government should not be picking the winners and losers in a nascent industry today, where some new technology is being developed every month. They're guaranteed to get it wrong by writing a few exceptions by hand today. So
I mean, they're guaranteed to get it wrong because they're fucking government shitheads.
Yeah.
And I want to no offense, Christian, but like I said, that this is a problem. I wish Republicans had more balls of anything. No, see, that's what they want you to do. They want you to go from one slave camp to another. Like, well, the Democrats can't do it, so let's go to Republicans. All Republicans are idiots. Let's go to Democrats. But the real solution to this all is to become a sovereign individual. You become your own government.
Let's get to the Citadel, baby.
Yes, that's right. I just think that. Why do you think they're passing this shit? They just want money?
Well, no, I mean, I think they get, well, there's a few different reasons, right? So like the Republican from Alabama, who we can see the video in a little bit of them actually debating this on the day, like, should we actually include this or strike it or change the amendment, blah, 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 blah. We have that whole video that we can discuss as well. But the Republican from Alabama, him and Bernie Sanders, who's a Democrat from Vermont, right? Those two guys, right, were basically the ones dragging their feet at the very end. If one of them decided, hey, let's let this crypto provision get struck out, each of them individually could have swayed that portion of the vote, right? Not to take down the whole infrastructure bill, but at least take the crypto portion out of it so that they don't get that wrong. And the Republican from Alabama, the reason why he didn't strike the bill is because, or didn't strike the crypto portion from the bill, is simply because he's owned by the banks, right? A lot of banks in Alabama back him politically. He's bought and paid for. And maybe Ted Cruz, got bought and paid for by some crypto, interests. That is possible, right? I don't know. But
Tom Bombadil's got him on the payroll.
Just remember, though, you've never seen the Zodiac Killer and Ted Cruz in the same building, in the same frame. Just remember that, okay?
Oh man,
good point. And so you got idiots on both sides, dragging their feet for their own interests, right? I mean, I think Miguel has showed this on Moon Gang on Monday. You can look at who bought and paid for these people on different Excel spreadsheets that they have, right? They get paid $250,000 here to go speak there, $100,000 to speak here, blah, blah, blah. They're making millions of dollars by jabbering their jowls, at this type of stuff in front of crowds everywhere. Yet how much money do they get paid from taxpayer dollars? Not very much. There's an interesting thing in the book.
Like 180 grand, right? 180 grand a year.
Yeah, if they're lucky, right? And I think like the president, how much does he make now? It used to be a little bit less, but
$400,000 a year.
Yeah, to basically kill yourself, because if you look at all of them before they become president, the ones that were relatively young, they're like all like super dark hair, right? Both Bush and Obama, when they left office, pure white, right? And why? Because it's a fucking stressful job. They should get paid a lot more, right? But they don't. And the thing that's interesting about the book, The Sovereign Individual, one part of that book is like, if we just ran government more like a corporation, not in terms of a centralized entity, right? But more in the terms of, for example, if their performance compared to something like GDP, right? If they increase the GDP and increase the economic ability of America, they could then get, a percentage of payment from that. Then if they were to do that, they'd be incentivized to do things that help America, right? And help America grow economically. And this is just an example. And then they would directly benefit from that. And then special interests would be basically cut out because they couldn't pay them off more money than what they would get from the government that way. But, to get the type of change from a bureaucratic system to where they're basically taking deals under the table. Now they're taking them on the table and on Excel spreadsheets for everybody to see, to get away from that type of stuff where they're just puppets, basically, of different interest groups. To get away from that type of government, it's going to take a very long time and a lot of pain, so this is just a very small kind of effect from that, right? But right now the government is not functioning the way it's supposed to.
Definitely not.
What clip are we gonna go to now?
The
420.
Yeah, the 421. Yeah.
All right, let's get ready to blaze it.
The 420.
420 blazing, baby.
That's the time stamp on the video.
360 no scope, baby. Let's go.
You know what that means, Charlie? It's 420 in that video. It's a corporate rug. Okay, let's see. Video. Okay. This is so okay, so you can find this video on the Bitcoin YouTube channel. This was live streamed on August 10th, 2021 at the 4 hour, 20 minute and 40 second mark. You can see the cancer of ignorance live and well in our government, disguising itself as, quote, democracy, end quote. Here we go.
Our colleague from Texas.
So this is after they've been jabbering on about this cryptocurrency bill and the dangers of cryptocurrency and how you're all terrorist and right-wing tech right bloggers or whatever, Russian bots, and just hammering on about how the cryptocurrency must be controlled, basically. And Senator Ted Cruz from Texas had this to say.
Thank you. I want to thank the good efforts of the senators who have led the work in finding a compromise in this regard, in particular Senator Toomey and Senator Lummis, who've worked very, very hard on this issue. Bismarck said many years ago that there are two things you don't want to see being made: sausage and legislation. And when it comes to particularly ugly legislation, this component, the regulation of cryptocurrency, may take the prize for the ugliest we have seen. A moment from now, I expect that we are going to see objections to this compromise amendment that was negotiated. If we do in fact see objections, and if the underlying language in this bill goes into effect, it will have devastating effects. There is a new and exciting industry in the United States of cryptocurrency, whether Bitcoin or otherwise, that are generating jobs, entrepreneurs who are creating new values, new hedges against inflation, new opportunities.
I can't believe he even said that. Hedges against inflation in a government building. They're like, hey.
Dangerous.
Chill, bro.
Seriously.
and it is fast moving. It is dynamic. And this infrastructure bill, a bill being sold to the American people as let's build some roads and bridges, has one little portion in there designed to obliterate cryptocurrency. Now, I fully understand that there are some bureaucrats at the Treasury Department have never seen anything they don't want to regulate the life out of. But if the underlying language in this so-called infrastructure bill becomes law, we will be destroying billions of dollars worth of industry in the United States. We will be destroying jobs in the United States. Many of those jobs are in my home state of Texas. And we will be sending them overseas. Listen, it isn't complicated. Cryptocurrency isn't tied to any particular piece of dirt. So the grand efforts of the United States Senate will be to say, we don't want those jobs in America. We don't want those resources in America. Go somewhere else. The ugly truth with which Bismarck understood, and which is particularly true on cryptocurrency, there aren't 5 senators in this body with any real understanding of how cryptocurrency operates.
I think that's pretty fucking hilarious.
Damn. That was base.
That's super base. Like, he was just like, none of these motherfuckers know what to talk about. And
props to him for getting the education for himself, right? To figure out what it is. He probably shadow bought the crypto mindset course last quarter.
He did. He was sponsored by Tom Bombadil. But yeah, like people like, okay. Let's just play this before I go on a tangent.
We have had no hearings on this. The Senate has had no hearings on this. The House, as far as I know, has had no hearings of this. And yet, this body is prepared to obliterate an industry willy-nilly. Or for that matter, the compromise, and listen, the compromise that was put forward would be a meaningful improvement, would do much, much less damage. But even the compromise would essentially kick the can down the road and allow bureaucrats at Treasury to do massive damage. And the bureaucrats at Treasury don't understand this any better than does the United States Senate. The right outcome, I think, is an amendment I introduced. Strike the whole damn thing. If we want to legislate on this, actually do our jobs. Be a deliberative body, hold hearings, listen to witnesses, understand the consequences, know what we're doing. That would be the reasonable, rational thing to do. Don't just put out a rule of massive taxes and regulations with no understanding of the consequences and jobs and real people that would be hurt. For whatever reason, the Senate doesn't seem to want to behave reasonably or rationally. And I think the consequences are going to be long-standing of this foolish legislation. I think Senator Toomey and Senator Lummis have worked hard on a compromise to brunt the worst aspects of this legislation. And so I hope the proposal they put forward, or about to put forward, is adopted. But if it is not, I'm going to predict that every one of the 100 senators here is going to come to regret that this body took a part in destroying jobs and a budding industry that will provide billions of dollars of new opportunity. And if the Senate keeps...
I disagree with him there. I just think these people in the government, they don't give a fuck. I really just think they're drunk on power, and they're just like, we don't fucking care. Pass the bill. Pass me the adrenochrome. Let's fucking go. Like, how do all these fuckers live forever? That's another thing, right? Like, one of the guys I just really hate is Mitch McConnell, because you could just tell he's just like an old, decrepit man who's like out of touch with reality. And isn't he like wasn't he like the leader of the Republican Party at one point, like during the whole completely legitimate election thing?
Right. Yeah, I think so. Then he got rugged, right?
Mitch McConnell sounds like a South Park character. Mitch Connor or Mitch.
Yeah. Yeah, so he was among the Republicans that voted against it. So you have Mitch McConnell, Roy Blunt, Richard Burr, Shelley Moore Capito, Bill Cassidy, Susan Collins, Kevin Kramer, Mike Crapo, perfectly going along within his name.
No wonder why he's a politician.
Yeah, from Idaho. Crapo for Idaho. Deb Fisher, Lindsey Graham, shocker. Chuck Grassley, John Hoeven, Mitch McConnell, Lisa Murkowski, Rob Portman, James Risch, Shit Romney, our boy from Utah. That's Mitt Romney. Dan Sullivan. Shocker that someone so out of touch with reality is part of this. Dan Sullivan, Thom Tillis, and Roger Wicker. We're going to get a huge boost because I just criticized Republicans on this channel. We're going to get like fucking top of the page one now, baby. Yes. So again, like we mentioned previously, every state has 2 senator representatives, and the Senate did pass the first step of this bill becoming a law in the United States government. It must be a bill before it's passed as to a becoming a law, and it must pass through the 3 stages of the government, which is initially here at the Congress level, Senate, then the House, then it goes to the president. And once it gets to our boy Biden, you know he's going to sign that shit. Like not even think twice because he's part of this thing. But anyways, let's just continue here.
On this course, we're going to send it instead overseas to our competitors. That would be a tragic mistake. Thank you.
Mr. President,
Senator from Pennsylvania.
I ask unanimous consent that notwithstanding adoption of Substitute Amendment 2137, the Toomey, Warner, Lummis, Sinema, Portman Amendment number 2656 be agreed to.
Is there objection?
Mr. President,
The senator from Alabama.
reserving the right to object, I ask that the senator from Pennsylvania modify his request to include my amendment number 2535 dealing with defense infrastructure to this bill, and that it be agreed to.
Does the senator from Pennsylvania so modify?
I do.
Is there any objection to the request as modified?
Reserving the right to object.
The senator from Vermont.
Mr. President, as I understand it, the senator from Alabama is interested in increasing military spending by some $50 billion. You know, there's a headline in the New York Times today.
A newspaper.
It doesn't talk about
Such a fucking boomer. I bought this newspaper with me for all you other dinosaurs, you know? At least have an iPad, like to trick the boomers or trick the Zoomers into thinking you're hip.
I saw this on the TikTokies.
Yeah. Follow me on Twitch, guys.
the fact that the United States now spends more than the next 10 nations on the military. Doesn't talk about the fact that the Pentagon is the only major agency of government that has not submitted successfully to an independent audit. Doesn't talk about the fact of huge profits among defense contractors. What it does talk about is a hotter future is now inevitable. A UN report says scientists urge immediate switch from fossil fuels to avert greater peril. So I would say to my friend from Alabama, if we're going to invest $50 billion, let us in fact invest in transforming our energy system so that we can save this planet for future generations and prevent the kind of unhealthy deterioration that we will inevitably see if we do not act. So, Mr. President, I object.
The objection is heard.
Mr. President.
Senator from Delaware.
President, I ask unanimous consent that notwithstanding adoption of substitute amendment number 2137, the Toomey Amendment 2656 be considered and agreed to.
Is there objection?
Mr. President,
Senator from Alabama.
Reserving the right to object again, I ask that the senator modify his request.
Seriously, bro. Just fucking
Southern twang.
Well, you just see
no,
how
not even
this,
that. Just like kill me. Just fucking kill me.
Well,
Like,
it's just like pass the buck, right? Okay, so we'll pass the buck to this guy, then we'll pass the buck to that guy, then we'll pass the buck to that guy, back to this guy, right? So this guy's just gonna pass the buck back to this guy from Alabama. The guy from Alabama says, "Am I gonna change my mind?" Nope. Why? Because my corporate interests tell me not to, right? And it's not because he actually wants to put $60 billion new dollars in the military spending. So the actual thing that they're talking about here isn't the actual thing that they're talking about here.
and we have over 500,000 people watching right now. We got 500 plus people watching. So this is extremely important. Thank you guys all for participating. Please smash the like button on both of our channels. Also, please share this video manually because we are being suppressed by every single social media platform out there because they don't want you to see. Because like if this was forcefully broadcast to everybody's mobile phone and to everybody's television and to everybody's computer, there would be a revolution like overnight. Like this is what's running this country. It's just like it's no offense to anybody here, but like these guys are making Ted Cruz look like a genius. That's just how bad the whole situation is. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Request to include my amendment number 2535 and that it be agreed to.
Does the senator from Delaware so amend?
I do not.
Is there objection to the original request by the senator from Delaware?
I object.
The objection is heard.
Mr. President.
Senator from Pennsylvania.
So for people who've been watching this and aren't familiar with the bizarre practices in this body, I want to just explain briefly what just happened here. Because there's a difference of opinion on whether or not the senator from Alabama should get a vote on his amendment, because that is not agreed to, the body is refusing to take up an amendment that has broad bipartisan support that we all know fixes something that badly needs to be fixed. This isn't like a whim of the senator from Pennsylvania. There's like nobody who disputes that there's a problem here. You want to know the specifics of the problem? Here's, according to the underlying bill, this is what's going to pass. This is what's going to get sent probably ultimately to the president's desk. It's a reporting requirement, a transaction reporting requirement, including name, taxpayer ID number, dollar amount, date. It's imposed on any person who, for consideration, is responsible for regularly providing any service effectuating transfers of digital assets on behalf of another person.
So this means companies like OpenSea would also be subject to this because they're an NFT broker, correct?
Right, especially if they were based out of the United States.
Right.
So if they're not based out of the United States, then they're going to try to pass other laws like this in other countries to like, okay, we can get it, we can corner them, right?
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah.
So very modern American of them sending jobs overseas, even indirectly, because like honestly, starting a business in America is just so cancerous. It's just like, I mean, I guess if you're like living in a third world nation, it's a good idea. But when you just see how much the government can, like, how many steps away are we from becoming China?
Well, if you look at what Snowden's been saying, they're pretty close.
Yeah.
And we just have to hate Winnie the Pooh a little bit more. I think we're there.
Well, look, I'm not even a lawyer, but I can read. Sounds to me like any service effectuating transfers, that would include validators. I don't know how that doesn't include miners, stakers, probably includes hardware and software.
I guarantee you, some of these people are like, people actually, like some of these Congress members are like, there are people in mines like getting crypto. Like they have no idea what miners are. They definitely have no idea what stakers are.
They probably think stakers are something to do with, vampires. Yeah, you gotta stake
they have no idea what a validator is. They probably think a node is a physical piece of electricity, like a physical thing.
Yep.
And it's just like,
You know, women should be minors, you guys.
yes, they
Come on.
should. Yes, they should. All women are queens.
Wallets, software developers, as all across any kind of platform. We're going to ask these people to provide information that they don't have and they can't get. In what universe does that make any sense at all? All I want to do is have a vote on an amendment that fixes this in a way that has bipartisan agreement, in a way that constrains this to apply narrowly to the people who actually are the intermediaries running a centralized exchange who have this information. But apparently we're not going to be able to do that. So we'll be back on this because we're going to do a lot of damage. Who knows how much innovation we're going to stifle?
God.
Who knows exactly how this, what kind of new apps just never emerge? It's hard to predict what some kind of completely impossible mandate results in, but it's not good. And it's going to bring us back here having to try to clean up a mess, which we could have prevented. I yield.
And again, nobody fucking cares in that building. They don't. All they want is more power, more control, and yeah, right here, it's Commando 1529 says damage control. Yeah, I mean, what kind of government would they be if they weren't fucking everything up, right? Should we just let it roll, Charlie?
Yeah, there's a little bit more, and Ted Cruz comes back at it, and there's a couple more interesting things before basically democracy dies.
Let's go. I'm okay. You guys enjoying this in the chat? Put a 1 in the chat right now. Put some Bitcoin emojis if you're on my channel. Go ahead.
Is it muted?
No, that they're just they're the actual broadcast.
Oh yeah,
is
I think
muted.
I think you'll have to go like a couple. Yeah, like just keep clicking forward till people start having pulses again.
It looks like it comes back to old the Zodiac Killer.
There we go. Yeah.
Billions of dollars.
Yeah, he'll say something similar, but I love watching the guys in the back during this one.
Oh man.
Oh man.
Mr. President.
Oh, Trump.
The senator from Texas.
Mr. President, unfortunately, we just saw the senator from Vermont object to a compromise solution.
These guys look like they were all fucking cloned in a factory.
Solution negotiated by Senator Toomey and Senator Lummis that would have mitigated some of the harm from the devastating new regulations on cryptocurrency in this so-called infrastructure bill. Because the senator from Vermont raised that objection, the status quo right now is these new regulations are going into effect and billions of dollars of value are going to be destroyed. Right now today, about 106 million people are using cryptocurrencies around the world, according to at least...
Did you say 106 million people are using cryptocurrency around the world?
Yeah, that's what some estimates. Some estimates are as much as 200 million.
There's way more people than that.
One recent report. The average annual income in the United States for a blockchain developer is $136,000. That represents a steady career, a good income for someone to own a home, to raise a family, to live a good and comfortable life.
You got to throw that debt slavery thing. Own a home. Own a home. This guy wants to get into debt.
And Texas is helping lead the way. Texas is taking the lead this past year as a major hub for cryptocurrency businesses and is even being hailed as the cryptocurrency capital. But all of this is
Is it really being? It's not, right?
No, they want it to. They want it to be.
It's Wyoming.
Yeah. That's the interesting thing, right? When you get a new industry, you get competition.
Why is Wyoming the cryptocurrency capital?
Because
Caitlin Long, pretty much. Yeah, she's this one chick out of Wyoming essentially like changed all the legislation. It's the most crypto friendly state in the entire union.
I was thinking about like population wise. Okay.
No,
there's no population there.
Nobody. I've been to Wyoming. Nobody lives there
except central bankers. What peep this shit right here is that the seat of power for the Federal Reserve is in Wyoming. Magically, the seat of power, the most crypto friendly state, is also in Wyoming as well. It's Jackson Hole, Wyoming is where basically all the bankers, all the Federal Reserve bankers and stuff kind of party at and stuff. So there's like I think they call it central bank forests or something, like the billionaire forest and millionaire forest. I was talking to a client of mine who was just telling me about all the billionaires and millionaires that live out there and stuff in Wyoming, in near Jackson Hole. And magically Cheyenne, which is the capital of Wyoming, is now the biggest. It's actually that city's exploding in terms of how many startups are actually like opening offices in Cheyenne, Wyoming.
That's pretty wild.
Time to press that soundboard.
Oh yeah, I know, right? Well, are we talking this one?
I should have this.
Speaking of, I don't know if it's a coincidence or something, but I was live streaming this to Twitch and the broadcast just got canceled. I didn't get any email notification or anything, but just
Amazon doesn't like this then.
Oh God.
Oh my God. We're showing C-SPAN. Oh my God, so dangerous.
No, they probably have like AI ready to pick up all Republican voices. Okay, let's see. Oh, I think, are we back? No, we are not back. That is so weird. All right, whatever. I'll just play this shit.
Under threat. Regulatory uncertainty is the #1 barrier to blockchain adoption, according to 48% of respondents in a recent report. And they're right to be worried. The current bill widens the definition of broker. Those who would have to collect information on cryptocurrency consumers and report this information to the IRS. It would force every single participant in the cryptocurrency structure to operate as a financial institution, which would mean they would have to provide consumer information to the IRS, even if they don't have access to that information. This overly broad definition of the word broker will block rapid innovation in cryptocurrencies, and it will endanger the privacy of many Americans in cryptocurrencies. This is wrong. So I applaud my colleagues for trying to find an incremental approach. Unfortunately, because the senator from Vermont objected, that incremental approach hasn't been adopted. So let's exercise a brief, shining moment of common sense. And let's recognize, if we've gathered all 100 senators in this chamber and asked them to stand up and articulate 2 sentences defining what in the hell a cryptocurrency is, that you would not get greater than 5 who could answer that question.
Look at the guy in the back.
This guy right here. Look at this guy too. He's like, because these like the White House intern slaves, basically like, yeah, these old motherfuckers don't know shit, you know. Look, this guy especially. This guy is like, oh shit, this guy's gonna get Epstein. But I mean, is he wrong? I mean,
no.
Like, dude, honestly, a lot of people in this chat can't explain in 2 sentences what cryptocurrency does.
Yeah, there was only one bit of political speak within that little statement that he just mentioned there, which is the senator of Vermont is the one who ended up blocking this. It's the senator from Vermont and Alabama. It's a 2-partisan fuck up.
But I didn't see Alabama vote against.
So that's the smart thing. They didn't vote against it, but because they didn't accept the provision for the extra $60 billion for the military, they basically objected to it. So therefore, they technically voted against it. So you objected to it, but didn't vote against it. So yeah.
God, can somebody just meme this right here? Just screenshot and meme this.
Yeah, I think there's like a little bit left here, and then it goes, and then basically from there, it's just a bunch of jabber.
Yeah, we'll play this, and I have some other news clips that I want to play.
Given that reality.
Look at this guy. This guy's
loving
it.
Go back and play that one part one more time. I think we can repeat that part one more time.
This guy gets.
That incremental approach hasn't been adopted. So let's exercise a brief, shining moment of common sense. And let's recognize, if we've gathered all 100 senators in this chamber and asked them to stand up and articulate 2 sentences defining what in the hell a cryptocurrency is, that you would not get greater than 5 who could answer that.
Look at that face. That gives me hope for America right there. This guy.
Question. Given that reality, the barest exercise of prudence would say we shouldn't regulate something we don't yet understand. We should actually take the time to try to understand it. We should hold some hearings. We should consider the consequences. We shouldn't destroy people's lives and livelihoods from complete ignorance. My amendment's very simple. Doesn't add anything new to this bill. It just strikes these provisions. It says, look, let's not do this till we know what we're talking about. Let's be cautious. Let's be reasonable. Let's not be the #1 economic developer for the Communist Party of China by sending cryptocurrencies overseas to our competitors because we've made it impossible for them to succeed here.
He's going to kill himself tomorrow.
Because he bought enough Bitcoin or because of this? No.
Oh, man. God.
Accordingly, Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent that notwithstanding adoption of substitute amendment number 2137, that the Cruz amendment number 2466 be agreed to.
Is there objection?
Mr. President,
The senator from Alabama.
reserving the right to object, I ask that the senator from Texas modify his request to include my amendment number 2535 dealing with defense infrastructure in this country, and that it be agreed to.
Sponsored by Lockheed Martin.
Yep.
Does the senator from Texas agree to so amend?
Reserving the right to modify my request. I would share with the senator from Alabama that I have the deepest respect for the leadership of the senator from Alabama. That I understand the senator from Alabama has a profound commitment to the fighting men and women of our military, as do I.
I too am sponsored by Lockheed Martin.
But Boeing today has paid me more.
Oh man, look at this guy's disapproving look now. He's like, "You fucking fell out."
Damn,
This guy's
evil.
This guy's in the crypto mindset course for sure.
That the senator from Alabama's commitment to invest in our military and military infrastructure is laudable, and I fully support that commitment. And indeed, I would commit to the senator from Alabama that I am more than ready and eager to partner with him to press through in this body through any avenue that is available, investing sufficient funds in our military, in our sailors, in our soldiers and sailors and airmen and Marines, and in the weaponry they need to defend this nation. But sadly, we know in this context that our Democratic colleagues are going to object to funding for the military. They have decided that is not within their priorities, even as they are spending trillions of dollars on everything else. Defending this nation is not a priority for the Democratic members of this conference. And so, if your amendment is added to my amendment, the effect will be what we just saw a moment ago, which is a Democratic senator standing up and objecting and claiming the reason for objecting is they don't want to fund the military anymore. I believe it is in the interest of this body to have a clean vote on, do we destroy cryptocurrencies, yes or no, without any other issues, because as much as I would like to join the senator from Alabama in investing more in the military, and I am committed to working with him to doing so, I also don't believe we should be destroying jobs and billions of dollars of value in this country. Accordingly, I do not so modify my request.
Is there objection to the original request
I object.
by the senator from Tennessee? Excuse me, Texas. The senator from Alabama objects. Objection is heard.
It's a buzzer right there. So it's
This
like
guy
a bunch
don't
of
give up. This guy don't give a fuck.
yeah, well, it's just like a bunch of political stuff, right? It's like, you know what they're gonna do, and like, okay, I gotta give a whole speech as to why, Ted Cruz has to give a whole speech as to why, like, he's basically, going against this guy in Alabama or whatever, but saying I'm still agreeing with you. But we actually, the one thing he says in there, like, is just like, we should just basically focus on this and not have other BS attached to this, right? We should actually like do our jobs and focus on like how to get this right. but then like just the dancing around the subject to make sure that they don't offend each other, during this is hilarious.
Just a room full of cowards.
Yep.
Keep going, Charlie. Go ahead, Miguel.
I'm kind of disappointed the senator from Alabama doesn't look like the guy from Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Isn't he from? Where's that guy from? Kentucky? Isn't he from Kentucky?
Is it Kentucky?
Colonel
Oh, yeah,
Sanders.
he's got a name, I guess.
Yeah.
Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Colonel Sanders, bro. Colonel Sanders.
Oh man.
I mean, you gotta love that old Southern twang. You know?
All right. What are we looking for, Charlie?
That's it. Then it just goes into their normal gibberish.
$25 billion.
This is just, oh my God, this is so much hot air at the end here. It's ridiculous. I couldn't even watch that part.
Oh God. The only reason I'm going to put up with this is because she's relatively attractive. See what she has to say.
She's wearing like a Thanos shirt.
Or in the military, and I am committed to working with him to doing so. I also don't believe we should be destroying.
Objection to Alabama objects. Objection.
A bipartisan proposal that will make America stronger and safer, creating good-paying jobs and expand economic opportunities across the country. After months of negotiations, the Senate has now debated our bipartisan Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act for nearly 2 weeks in an open and legislative process. We've considered 22 amendments from both sides of the aisle and voted to adopt many of those amendments. In the coming hours, the Senate will have the opportunity to approve legislation that meets the needs of everyday families, employers, and communities.
That's right. I need you to police my crypto. I'm not watching any more of this, John. I'm gonna fucking.
I mean, she just goes
water.
into like the longest hot air speech ever, and it's just like da 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 da. Like everything you say, like is just basically a soapbox thing that doesn't have any meaning.
So I want to just share. So this is what happened. Just for you guys to understand, this is what's happening if you do not take action on this. You don't call your congressman. You don't complain. Okay, this is who's in charge of your life. This is who is in charge of your cryptocurrency portfolio. Take a look here at what Chuck. This is what Chuck Schumer says. This has 20,000 views, 1,000 dislikes, and 134 uplikes.
Passed bipartisan.
So this is after it was passed with the majority vote of 69 to 30 in the Senate. I would just want to listen to how much of an idiot he thinks you are at home.
After we pass the bipartisan infrastructure bill this morning, senators should expect to vote to proceed to the budget resolution, and we will begin the process for debating amendments shortly thereafter. Democrats are prepared to move quickly and decisively through the amendment process.
Democrats are going to move quickly and decisively, aka we want to rush this thing through so we don't get any pushback and we make it a law as soon as possible, because once things are law in America, probability of it becoming, no longer law is slim to none. Like, I mean, look at marijuana. Like, it's finally starting to lighten up after literally like 60 years plus, to be honest.
So we can finish what we set out to do before the end of the work period. The longer it takes to finish, the longer the Senate will be in session. At the start of July, I set 2 ambitious goals for this chamber before our August recess. One was to pass a bipartisan infrastructure bill to boost our economy, something the Senate has not achieved in many years.
Shocker. Boost our economy by printing more money and devaluing our currency. Got it.
This is a strong and bold accomplishment. The second was to pass a budget resolution with the kinds of transformative changes I've mentioned. Pundits called it wishful thinking in a chamber known for unhurried deliberation. Well, we are moments away from achieving the first goal, and I'm confident that very soon the Senate will take the first major step towards achieving our second goal. The Senate is on track to finish both tracks and deliver an outstanding result for the American people. I yield the floor and no, don't yield the floor. I take back the floor.
What a slime ball, just based off his
Yeah.
body language alone.
Oh, dude. Yeah. I was thinking the exact same thing. He's like,
Licking his lips like a dirty rat.
Slime
The smartest man in the United States of America, though, does actually agree with what has happened here. And you can see what the smartest man in the world has to say right here. Just take a look.
I want to thank a group of senators, Democrats and Republicans, for doing what they told me they would do. The death of this legislation was mildly premature, as reported. They said they're willing to work in a bipartisan manner. And I want to thank them for keeping their word. That's just what they did. After years and years of infrastructure week, we're on the cusp of an infrastructure decade that I truly believe will transform America. As you all know, just a short while ago, the United States Senate passed the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, the very legislation I ran on when I announced my candidacy for the nomination for president.
I'm just so glad he's organically speaking and not reading off of a teleprompter.
Historic investment in the nation's roads and highways, bridges and transit, and our drinking water systems and broadband, clean energy, environmental cleanup, and making infrastructure more resilient, and the climate crisis much more in our minds is how do we deal with it. America's often had the greatest prosperity and made the most progress when we invest in America itself. And that's what this infrastructure bill does. With overwhelming support from the United States Senate.
Pause it right there. So what we're trying to do is, pass this bill to support America as much as possible by gutting an entire industry out of our economy. Does that make sense?
It makes about as much sense as his tie.
The Senate. A vote margin bigger than when the interstate highway system passed in the Senate in 1956. It makes key investments that will, one, create millions of good union jobs all across the country.
Didn't this dude make more his money like doing like weapons deals with Russia?
So he talks about how this infrastructure deal is going to make millions of jobs, right? But what he doesn't talk about is these jobs are just like people out hacking away in the sun, doing like few steps away from slave labor, but enriching the nation by absolutely embracing the future. Blockchain developers, like Senator Cruz said, 130,000 US dollars for the average blockchain developer salary, right? Even if it takes you 40 years to get that done, which you can do it in honestly, you can learn that stuff on 2 years. And then, $130,000 is good living no matter where you are.
Yeah.
And even if it's in a highly expensive place like New York, San Francisco, any place, California, really, in New York, it's still decent living, but listen to what he says.
America, this is how we truly build back better. This bill is going to help make a historic recovery a long-term boom. Folks, above all, this historic investment infrastructure is what I believe you, the American people, want. What you've been asking for a long, long time.
That's right. Rug my crypto, daddy.
This bill shows that we can work together.
Well, in addition to that, right, rug my crypto and surveil me, all that shit.
So, what we're gonna do now? Of course, we got a smart ass in chat. $130,000 is not decent living in the Bay Area. Well, I mean, that's one, because you are living in the Bay Area, and two, it's like you're not eating out of a trash can. Like, you can afford to eat Uber Eats once in a while and live a decent life.
Yeah, 130 is gonna be starting income, dude. Like, I know developers that are making like $400,000 a year. Easily. Yeah. You just once you get good with Solidity, you can work with multiple projects. You get coin distributions, and then on top of that, you're getting paid in Ethereum and stable coins, and you're yielding on top of that stuff. It rains from the sky. It rains from the sky money.
I want to play. So there's two. So obviously we have like the perspective directly from the Senate floor and from the Los Angeles Times, and then I found very interesting information overall in general on YouTube, and it happened to be on Fox News. So take a look here at this news clip because this is pretty funny. I like the comical approach they take to an extent, but here we go. After infrastructure surrender, Republicans deserve to lose. They claimed it would help convince moderate Democrats to abandon Biden's letter bill. It won't. By Philip Klein, August 9th. And here's what they had to say. Let me just move this over here.
Indiana Congressman, and Newt Gingrich, former Speaker of the House and Fox News contributor. Congressman Banks, 19 senators basically signed on with the left to go right into the reconciliation bill. We knew this was going to happen. Senator Cassidy tried to debate me on this, and sorry, he ended up looking like a fool. Your response?
Well, this is just insane, Laura. We're trying to win back majorities in the House and the Senate. How do you do that when Republicans act like Democrats? How do we convince the American people to vote to give Republicans the trust once again to lead when they see stuff like this happen today? We know that inflation is on the rise. The price of everyday goods costs more, and real wages are declining in America. It's only going to get worse because of this deal. It's a travesty that Republicans would go along with it. Also, Laura, you have to recognize that the same Republican senators that went along with this infrastructure deal, that only 9% of it is actually infrastructure, the same Republican senators that denied Donald Trump an infrastructure deal that cost half of this, that all of it went to infrastructure. They wouldn't let him accomplish that under Donald Trump's watch. Why did they go along with Democrats and give Joe Biden a win on Biden's watch? I just don't get it.
Now, Nancy Pelosi, Speaker of the House, she reacted to the passage of this bill, and it was instructive. Watch.
With all the respect in the world for the Senate bill, I'm glad it passed. I'm glad it's bipartisan, but it is not the totality of the vision of Joe Biden and the congressional Democrats. If we could have to do this much bipartisan, okay, but that is not the vision. The vision is to build back better.
Well, pause it right there too. So it's like, oh, we don't really want to work with the other party. We just did it because we had to. It's like, what kind of politics is that? Like, is that a country that's trying to, do things? But no, that's a country that's trying to like basically not do their job.
Trying to build back better, Charlie. How dare you?
Oh yeah, apparently. Gotta destroy it first before you build back up, apparently, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what's happening.
They're rubbing Republicans' faces in this after Republicans were trying to assure our viewers and conservatives across the country that it would make it less likely that the $3.5 trillion would ultimately pass in some form. Your reaction?
Well, I mean, look, it's very hard to understand. I agree with Jim. I can't understand why a single Republican senator would have voted for this. It didn't meet any of the standards they promised. It isn't paid for. It isn't restricted just to infrastructure. It does have tax increases in it. It has all sorts of left-wing proposals and projects and ideas. It massively pays off Schumer in New York City with what I think is a enormously expensive tunnel that probably is larger than about half the state's share of the infrastructure part of this. And it has no really serious reforms in it. I can't imagine how these Republicans can go home and with a straight face suggest that they voted for something that's truly bipartisan. And of course, it's all going to get worse in the House because Pelosi's running a dictatorship and she has absolute control of her narrow margin, but it's a sufficient margin. So who knows what's going to come back? And I think from the standpoint of any conservative voter in America, this is a disaster. It's an unnecessary disaster, and it's a self-inflicted wound by Senate Republicans.
Yeah, Congressman Bernie Sanders is calling the next monstrosity, which is the follow-on reconciliation bill, the most consequential bill since the New Deal. So to remind everyone, universal preschool, 2 years.
This is really creepy right here. As soon as I saw that universal preschool, I thought, okay, so we're just gonna indoctrinate them from a very, very young age now.
Well,
Even younger.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Miguel.
Oh, wait, with the preschool?
No,
Yeah,
I don't know what you're gonna say.
He just said even younger.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the thing I was gonna say is like, isn't there this thing called public education? Like that's universal education. It's such a crazy concept that it's like we already have that. I thought
I got an older concept for you, Charlie. It's called being a parent and actually taking care of your child, not pawning them off to the government for subsidies. Oh man.
Years of free community college, adding dental, vision, and hearing benefits to Medicare, cutting carbon emissions by 50% by 2030, and an immigration overhaul that ends up being amnesty. It's just the tip of the
dental, vision, and hearing is the only part they really care about.
For sure.
Yeah.
On the new climate core and climate change giveaways. Congressman, could the House possibly stop this?
I hope so. We've been called back the week after next, Laura. The House will come back into session. We will do everything we can to stop this. What the American people need to know is that Joe Biden is a socialist president.
Oh man. I mean, let me ask you something. I know in the last year of Trump's presidency, he passed all the trillions of dollars for the alleged beer bug relief. Were all these previous bills so expensive, or are we just jumping up into the trillions now?
We're just jumping up into the trillions.
They were billions.
I've seen billions before. Have they been to trillions yet?
Which one are you referencing exactly?
Just these bills and these propositions in general.
No,
yeah, these are the first to get to trillions, basically.
Yeah, I mean there used to be actual. I mean, like what was it, the war in Iraq or something like that? I forget. Like the whole deal obviously cost a lot more, but like one of the things that had passed in like the mid 2000s was like $60 billion in spending for it. And they were like, oh my god, we're spending billions of dollars on these things, and now they just fucking spend like $1 trillion. Like whatever.
Yeah, the whole TARP package for the banks to keep them from like being insolvent was $600 billion. That was during the 2008 financial crisis. So in order to recapitalize the banks, they printed $600 billion. This is like twice as big.
Yeah.
For
10 years from now, we're going to need the quadrillion mark. I didn't even know the word quadrillion until like the last 2 years as they started all this money printing. I'm like, what's after a trillion? Oh yeah, quadrillion. Apparently, you got to start getting familiar with that word.
Jesus.
President, he's governing as a socialist.
Let's just go back to just hear the bass. Drop the bass.
Come back into session. We will do everything we can to stop this. What the American people need to know is that Joe Biden is a socialist president. He's governing as a socialist. He's adopted the Bernie Sanders playbook, and this is a big example of that. But also on top of that, this will grant the widest reaching amnesty that this country has ever seen to somewhere between 12 and 20 million illegals, including 1.5 million migrants who have come into this country illegally.
And so that's when they start to go off. But I want to, Ridoku says, is this still relevant to crypto? Because this is getting boring very fast. Hold on to your Dogecoin, buddy, because yes, when the government is going to print another $5.3 trillion, okay, when they pass the bill, where do you think they get the money from?
Out their ass.
Like, do you miss that like clearly obvious point? I guess so.
Yeah. Bitcoin go up, baby.
Yeah, I will say though, it is sometimes hard to watch all this political stuff just because there's a bunch of old dudes on TV, and old women on TV, just trying to hold it together with staplers on their hair and like. I don't know, man. That's funny.
There's another news clip from Fox that I want to play. Do you want to say anything in the meantime? Because I just want to make sure. Again, we're not siding with Fox News or anything. We're just we're just playing YouTube videos that are showing facts. Like, for example, of the infrastructure bill, only 9% of the bill is actually tied to infrastructure. 9%. Not even 10. Couldn't even give us a tenth. Couldn't even give us a tithe. You got to give us the 9. But that's just like my reaction right there. I don't even know what to say, really. It's just it's mind blowing to see this is actually happening live.
Yeah, the funny thing is there's somebody in the chat who was like, I'm so sad to see my fellow Americans be anti-American. I'm pretty sure part of being an American is to look at things critically, with an eye, and hold the government accountable for what their actions are doing in order for us to move the country forward. So if you were saying, basically back in the day, when they were, debating, oh my God, the word debate, that word triggers me. I need to go to my safe space, right? It's like, they're literally, debating used to be like encouraged in America. Now it's like, oh my God, like you guys are talking critically of things. Like you must be anti-American. It's like, no, I love America. It's one of the best countries in the world. I go camping there. It's fucking beautiful. So many good things about it. But they are, doing so many things that just are like ruining the country. This being one of them. Like crypto, it's like, not the biggest subject in the bill, but it's an important one. And it's one that can free people, not only in America, but also globally. And, they're just shooting themselves in the foot with this. So if being anti-American means that I can't be or being pro-American means I can't be critical of my government, I think that's not America anymore.
Yeah, and going back to that, like I became anti-America when America became anti-me, and that's like the backbone of being American. Like, remember, I'm not saying to do this, but America was established violently over taxation, like very, very bad taxation.
Well, literally, people were willing to kill each other, to get away from taxation, and literally willing to die, to get away from taxation. Now people are like, oh, let's tax them more, and like, all this stuff, and people are like, well, I guess we have to, right? Because the government said it. We're supposed to like help us and stuff. It's like, if I'm printing trillions and trillions of dollars, what is the meaning of tax, right? John McAfee, right, paid the more taxes than 99.9% of Americans ever, right? And, still, didn't help him, right? And most of his taxes didn't go to things that actually were to improve the things that, he thought were important to prove. And so he decided not to pay them anymore. And he had to pay the piper for that one, right? Unfortunately. But like, there's just never enough. They want more until there is no wealth in the middle anymore. You get the extreme rich and you get the extreme poor. And if you do that and remove the middle class, then, how is a society going to function properly?
Yeah. Again, I think it's just immature, but it is what it is. So like I said, hey man, some people want to be slaves. They're more comfortable that way. There is funnily enough, there's another clip that I kind of want to play. You guys down?
Yeah, I keep going as long as we want to go. So
it's just so important. But this is another clip from.
So while we were all distracted today by the resignation of Andrew Cuomo, another big story was quietly unfolding on the Senate floor. And this one actually matters to you. Republicans and Democrats teamed up to sell the American taxpayer up the river, passing a $1 trillion bipartisan infrastructure bill. So what does this mean? Well, if you ask Joe Biden, it's all about jobs, jobs, jobs.
Create millions of jobs, literally.
Not $7 an hour jobs, even $15 an hour jobs, but jobs at prevailing wages making $46, $50 an hour with benefits. It's a bill that would end years of gridlock in Washington and create millions of good paying jobs. It makes key investments that will, one, create millions of good union jobs all across the country.
Okay, so that sounds pretty good on the surface, right? I think we can all get behind jobs and better roads and bridges, but not so fast. If you do a little digging, you'll find the deal isn't as sweet as it seems. In fact, billions of dollars would go toward things that have nothing to do with infrastructure at all, like radical equity and environmental justice, whatever that is. But we can't be surprised. Notice how it's mostly bad ideas that get bipartisan support. Members of both parties love nothing more than to waste your money because they don't care about you. Republican Senator Josh Hawley voted against that infrastructure bill today, and he joins me now. Senator, I understand why the Democrats voted for the bill. This is the part of the agenda. Joe Biden ran on this. The radicals love it. Why did your Republican colleagues vote for this bill?
Good question. I have to say I don't know the answer to that question, and I'm disappointed that anybody would support this bill. You said it exactly right. This isn't an infrastructure bill. This is a radical left woke politics bill that has stuff like gender identity mandates in it, the radical equity agenda, the Green New Deal. That's all in this bill. And by the way, it's going to cost trillions of dollars pork barrel spending. There's stuff like bridges and highways in Canada in this bill. We ought to be building highways and bridges in the United States, not in foreign countries. This is a bad bill, and that's why I voted no.
So those of us that follow this for a living knew that this was coming. A lot of these problem solvers, they call themselves, were marching back and forth to the White House. And there was an agreement that they were going to get real infrastructure done. But come to find out, the Democrats just decided to get another bill as well and put it on the floor, and they're going to vote for that as well. So did the Republicans get scammed again?
Yeah, I'm afraid so. I mean, listen, this is all Joe Biden's agenda. That's the key thing to know. This is the Biden far left agenda, spending trillions of dollars to remake our society and to remake it in the image of the woke left. That's what he wants to do. And that's what he is succeeding in doing right now. And so it's absolutely imperative that Republicans say, no, this is not the right vision for this country. We are not a racist country. We're not an evil country. We're a good country. We don't need to be remade. Americans need to be empowered to live their lives. That needs to be our agenda.
So the little money that was there, can Americans expect that the roads are going to be improved and the bridges are going to be improved and that, life is going to be made better with their tax dollars on some type of front?
I don't know about that. I mean, what it looks like to me is over $1 trillion in pork barrel spending. Only a small percentage of that actually goes to roads and bridges and in my state waterways, which are important. And what do Americans get stuck with? They get left with a massive tab that they're going to have to pay for with increased taxes, and they get left with woke politics, which is what most of this bill goes to pay for. That's why it's such a bad deal, and that's why Republicans need to oppose it.
So just to be clear, Senator, Republicans, conservatives, they call themselves, are voting for tax increases because that's the only way you pay for something like this, right?
Yeah, I mean, right now, what the Congressional Budget Office said, look, hundreds of billions of dollars in this terrible bill aren't paid for. It's got to be paid for somehow, and we all know how that works. It's working people who end up paying for it with increased taxes. I'll tell you what else working people are going to be paying for is increased food prices, increased prices for car repairs, and increased gas prices, all of that because of this out-of-control federal spending and these far-left policies. And I say again, Republicans need to put forward a better alternative, a better vision. Just going along with the Biden agenda, that is not the way.
All in the name of bipartisanship. I would love if one of those Republican senators would join me tomorrow or any day this week.
So anyways, I see some of you guys, you can't, like this guy, Wake Dog says Fox News is so politically biased, just like CNN and other channels. It's not about politics. Where like if you're watching this and the first thing you think is like, oh, those darn Republicans or those darn Democrats. It's like, dude, they're all trying to fucking rug us.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing. It's like, when I was listening to that, what I'm trying to listen for, right, is like when I'm listening to any party that's talking, okay, we need to do this for the Republicans, we need to do this for the Democrats, I'm trying to sit there and I'll listen, right? And I'm like, I want to listen to both sides of the aisle, and I want to see what things do they say in there that makes sense, and then what things are a political agenda, right? And these guys, they were making sense, right? Very good points, right? It's like that's fair news. What's the problem with that? Oh, because you have a badge that says you're of the other tribe. You're, playing for the Patriots instead of playing for the Los Angeles Rams or whatever. That's what it comes down to, is they're trying to put people in camps of sports, which is like, let's get into the gladiator arena and like have these politicians fight it out, right? That's kind of what politics has come down to in America. Whereas before, we legitimately would be like, I'm not triggered by just seeing which party you're from. I'm actually going to listen to you and decide whether you're telling the truth or not, whether you're making a good point or not, right? The thing that I get annoyed about most every time that I travel back home is that, yeah, you can disagree with one side or the other, but if you make a small concession and say, well, at least they were right on that point, people attack you. Like, I'm like, how does that even make sense? How are you supposed to have a conversation? How can you have a critical discussion of things that will be made law without being able to be critical about your own party, about another person, no matter what affiliation they have? Like, you should be able to openly talk about this stuff. But most people, they just see, the decal on the other person's helmet and say, oh, he must be bad, right? Or he must be fantastic and have no issues and, be the best person since, Jesus. But like, people just can't, it's just one or the other. It's binary. There's no complexity, and they can't actually think for themselves. They have stopped doing so, which is pretty sad.
How dare you call them binary? We're a non-binary nation. Phil Good, $10 super chat. More of the story. Get big, get rich, get out of America. I mean, that is pretty good. Tyler Vester says, where is the StreamYard link? Just check your email, buddy. It's definitely in there. But yeah, we just wanted to talk about this to let you know what's going to happen. So the only thing you could really do is call your Republican senator and hell, call your fucking Democratic senator, or call everybody and just harass them. Like, fucking, like, hey, stop that shit, or you're not going to get voted again.
Well, check this shit out. So let me share this stuff. I'm just like, this is wild. Like, so this is on Bloomberg, right?
Yeah.
So Bloomberg, because of their ads and everything, I had to put it into the Wayback Machine to get it proper for reading. But like,
you dirty super coder.
Oh my God, I'm so so shadowy. I didn't pay Bloomberg their whole $2 they wanted.
Oh, hacker man.
So here, right, it's like drunk driver detection for cars is part of the infrastructure bill. All right. So what's this, right? It didn't load the whole thing, but just all you really need to read here is the first two paragraphs, right? And it's like, okay, safety measures are included in the legislation for cars and trucks, right? Rear impact guards for trucks, also part of Senate package, all right, whatever. New cars will be required to have technology to detect drunk drivers and a system to keep children from being accidentally left in vehicles on hot days under a series of long sought safety measures included in the infrastructure bill awaiting the U.S. Senate. So, okay, I agree. Drunk driving is bad, and children dying of heat stroke in cars from fucking incapable human beings is bad, right? So I agree that is not good. But other provisions included in this ridiculously long bill are a mandate for automatic emergency braking and crash avoidance systems for new cars and rear guards for semi-trailer trucks to keep the passenger compartments of cars from being crushed in rear impact collisions. So there's some good things and some bad things in there. But generally speaking, you got to ask this one question. How are they going to detect if you are a drunk driver getting into this car? Or how are they going to detect that your child is in danger in your car? Right? How are they going to detect these things? Well, they're going to detect these things by literally putting a breathalyzer in the car, and you can't drive the car without having that be part of it. Or they're going to be putting cameras in your car that censor, like view
heat cameras. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Heat cameras in your car that view heat and like basically monitor what's happening in your car. So whenever you're driving down the road, you get the awesome pleasure of understanding that the government is measuring your body temperature at every waking moment that you're driving that 5-hour trip down to Chicago or whatever, right? So it's like, that's insanity. Like, that's just one more step. And like, I don't care which party you which team you're a part of. It doesn't fucking matter. Like, I do not want them to be putting cameras in my car, looking at me every waking moment of my day to try to figure out, like, oh my God, you drunk, bro? You drunk? Like, or like you have a child endangerment in your car. It's like it's just Minority Report is just it's one step at a time, right? One step at a effing time. It's crazy. So,
yeah, what a time to be alive. You know, I just say, like, with everything that's going on, like I said, just all you got to do is really just pay attention to what's happening right now. This is like the worst time to turn your head, and we're not even like trying to be political or whatever. We're just telling you what's happening.
Common sense.
We're telling you what is happening in politics and what they want, and they want your crypto, and they don't want you. And like you can see in this legislation, like if you have private keys, they want your information. They want to know your tax ID, your full name, your address, and it's like, you know,
they want to touch your privates.
Where's the line? You know, where's the line? Where do we just say, like, you know, please just leave me alone?
That's why it's one thing, right? That's why we have fucking guns, right? And it's like one of these things where it's like, you know, if you give all that up to the actual government and you say, hey, government, you know, like lead me to, you know, the promised land, you're not going to get things turning out right. And it's like, there's actually been studies done that say, like, you know, through different nations, like nations that have gun rights, like that actually does not affect, what do you call it? Murder rates and stuff like that as much as people lead you on to believe. Right. So, and that's, you know, a right talking point. So, oh my God, like all my friends who, you know, are Democrats are going to like jump on me and say like, I'm the worst person in the world for saying gun rights are actually something that's okay and have been proven to be something that does not affect murder rates as much as people say that they do in other countries as well as in, you know, America. So, and like, whatever, right? Like, whether you agree with that statement or not, doesn't matter. It's just one of these things where it's like people these days, I'm so sick that people can't actually have layered opinions anymore. They can't actually think, like they're being told what to think through the media. And here, this is just another thing in crypto that they're being told what to think. You should not be, this is going to be a narrative that's happening throughout this decade, which is you should not be, you know, basically having money that is private is illegal, right? And like cash, they're going to start saying cash is bad because it transmits the virus. And then that's where it starts. And then they're going to say, well, cash is bad because it's anonymous. You're a shadowy supercoder, right? By holding cash. And it's just like all these boogeyman BS things that there's other things that they can do to alleviate the bad things that are going on in the country, right? And one of them being like in terms of that child in the car thing is like, you know, make parents actually be good parents. It's like, you know, it's like, it's just clown world, absolutely ridiculous. And you're going to get people so jaded by the government when it comes to cryptocurrency, when it comes to other issues, that they're just not going to participate in politics anymore. Because what's the point? You know, what's the goddamn point?
Yeah, man. But anyways, we don't want to fill you guys with gloom and doom. We just want to tell you what's happening. Keep an eye on what's going on. You know, call your Congress people, call your House of Representatives, and just make their lives hell until they fucking, because that's your job as an American. Is these people they're called representatives. They represent you. So do something about it. All right. And stay based out there. We'll be back, Charlie, tomorrow. Cultivate Crypto, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. My channel every day, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on this channel. In the month of August, I'm broadcasting every day. Until then, keep your head up. Live long, prosper, pay all the taxes, worship all the Democrats,